What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, the thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terence?
Most interesting guests that we can find in Singapore.
Yes, and today we have a pair of them. Not one, but two. I don't think we've had two guests for a long time.
Yeah, two guests. But remember, where are they from? They are from one.
From one ideal.
One ideal. Yeah.
And today we would like to welcome Ruiming and Choon from the Woke Salaryman.
Yeah. And that's men, singular men.
Yeah, singular men.
They're not woke salarymen.
That's the company name.
The company name.
The page name. Okay.
And right before the introduction, they told us, it is because the Woke Salaryman is what you say, an ideal, is it?
It's not like some people say, hey, I'm meeting the Woke Salaryman, when they meet us, but it's not, we are not the Woke Salaryman, because we also are not perfectly attuned to, we also make some silly financial purchases from time to time. We have our own vices also so we are not the Woke Salaryman.
But when we go out, do we say we are from Ministry of Funny? We don't say we are from the Ministry. Do we say, what do we say?
Ministry of Funny.
Not the Ministry of Funny.
Not the Ministry. No, but for theirs I think it's like you all don't want to be identified as almost like a boy band kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Where you all are like the woke salaryman.
Yeah.
And then if and someone joins you, then he's not a woke salaryman.
Yeah, it's not like that.
Yeah, I think let's focus on the people running it and more of the idea of the principles or the values that.
So then what made you come up with that name? Because now you guys are pretty huge in Singapore, right? Don't be modest, okay? You guys are big. A lot of people know you all. How do you all come up with that name?
Yeah, so I think it began with okay, so this is probably going to come up during this conversation. So I'll just address it head on.
Sure.
Yeah, so the word woke in Woke Salaryman doesn't mean in the Western context where you are very woke about
societal issues and
societal
things like that.
Yeah. Although it can be seen that way, but the original meaning was that when someone says, "Oh, I wish I knew this earlier. I wish I woke up when I was 25 to these realities of the world." So it's used in that context.
So Ruiming created the page actually. Then he asked me to also help make content for it. But when he asked me to sort of draw, on Facebook you have to put the banner.
Correct.
What I drew actually was, my interpretation of it was waking up, and it was actually, if you go back to find our first ever banner, right? It was a picture of a salaryman in the train going to me it was waking up, because that related to sort of how I felt when I first entered the working world, and I'm oh shit, I'm minus $25,000 in debt.
Can that banner still be found on your Facebook?
Can. You go back find, I can find one.
Okay.
Yeah. But of course, then now there's this whole anti-woke thing and the woke movement and stuff.
Yeah.
And that is not our intention. It was literally just wake up.
So
maybe the grammar is wrong, right?
But I mean, even the woke term in the US, it has to do with waking up also.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
But it's also tied up in a lot of ways with liberalism and a certain. When you say it means a certain thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's more like a political awakening in that context. Whereas yours is more of a
financial awakening.
Financial.
Yeah.
So does it impact you guys on a day-to-day basis, or do people come across and come to you and say stuff that makes you go that's not the kind of woke we are?
Not really. I mean, definitely not day to day, but people do talk to it about us sometimes. Talk about it to us sometimes. I think I try to take a non-US centric approach. So I think if you define the word by American rules, then woke will mean the political woke.
Yeah.
But I feel that is a very Western centric way of using the word woke. And as Asian people, we are free to redefine the word in however we.
I mean, word also got multiple meaning.
Yeah,
you look at the dictionary, got multiple meaning. So I think the best person to ask in terms of what do they mean is us, and we are saying this. So if you wanna say that we are not, then okay, you go and dig clues and find out how we're actually trying to sneak in some other thing. But I don't think you will find a lot. Honestly, I think.
But I think we also acknowledge that the word means different things to different people. So if you want to think it's the political woke, if you think it's woke but making fun of the left, that's fine also. As long as you enjoy the content.
I think judges by the content, not by the brand. And I think it's a bit unfortunate if you, because seeing what the brand is, the name, then you go into reading the comic with a preconceived notion of what we're about to say. I feel Can also I mean like whatever, do what you want but like, I feel like that's not optimal way to enjoy our content.
So you have gotten feedback like that when people think that you have an
Woke
agenda.
Salaryman, Woke Salaryman person also have. You know, that kind of thing. Have also.
I think
Woke salary person.
I think sometimes people read the content, especially if the content is viral and reaches the States. They're like, this is not what woke means.
Because our content sometimes will cross over to the States. And it's very entertaining when that happens. So it will hit a new point of reality because like they are more people, right?
Yeah.
So the numbers very nice, but sometimes also like they are very much more into commenting and argument.
And you would see
That's
that
what we
in the
noticed.
comments, like, you'll be able to tell, okay,
it's
it's
quite
crossed
fun,
over to the yes.
Yeah, it's quite fun.
But recently I saw like in one of the comments that go viral, there were like Americans and there were some like people of color defending the use of the word woke in the comment section.
Right. So it will rage on and think on its own identity
life of
also
its own,
in the
yeah.
argument. It's very interesting.
And then for me, I just like look at the sidelines. Okay, you have
we
this
just
discussion.
spectator mode. Then we just
It's too intense for me.
Who's the one that engages with the trolls?
Mostly him.
Mostly him. Okay.
I think I do it less now because it's quite mentally sapping.
It is, right? Yeah.
So now I just filter out all the trolls.
But because nowadays to do content means also you are interacting with people. It's inevitable. Last time if like I'm Clark Gable, I'm an actor, right?
Yeah.
You can't reach me. You write angry letter to me, I'll never see
Now
you.
you must be accessible.
You're
now so
building a
accessible.
community. You're building a community.
Twitter, I can reach Elon Musk, you know. I can tweet him, and if it's like ferocious enough or more enough people retweet it, he will see it.
Yeah.
Right.
So how do you use to engage with the trolls? To what extent?
I think we will try to just
Kill them with kindness.
Kill them with kindness, you know, state our point of view, you know.
So you would take the time to type out.
Try to empathize with them. But then I guess over a long period of time, it just become very draining. So I think in the past on Instagram, I think I replied like every single DM.
That's when we were smaller also, so you can do that.
I think up to the point where if like 150k followers, I was still replying every single DM. But eventually, I just became too tired to do it. So now I'm more selective on who I'll reply. Like I think if the messages are very rude or what, I just like whatever.
But you will still read every message, lah.
Not every message. I think
it's too many.
It's too many
at this point.
So we do have a list of like people who who tend to view us in bad faith. So the comments are always like very aggro and
quite bad.
So I just hide them in the general folder.
Yeah, so you know Insta got general, then got primary, right?
Yeah, primary folder.
Yeah, so we put the usually quite bad people into the general folder.
Yeah, because
we will never tell people whether they're general or primary.
Like, hey,
so don't ask
general
us.
folder one. No.
Was it a KPI thing like, okay, once we hit 150k subscribers, I'll stop listening. Not
really.
not so clear
I think it just got to the point it started affecting my mental health as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because I mean, replying possibly toxic messages, even if it's just a small percentage of the following, right? I mean, it can be quite draining.
Yeah.
Let's say 1% of 100,000 is still 1,000.
Correct, yeah.
Like 1,000 bad DMs can be quite bad.
Yeah.
To someone's mental health.
Yeah.
No, we realized that like even our Reddit, like 99% of the comments are usually positive and trying to engage in conversation.
Yeah.
But it's always that one comment. That one guy that keeps you up at night.
Ruin your day.
Ruins your day.
Yeah, it really does.
Makes you discuss and all that, yeah.
I'm surprised because for us, we started social media when we were later, right? So, I mean, when we were older, I can't imagine if you're 21, you get comments like that. We're old, dude. In the influencer game, we're fucking old, dude.
Versus the TikTokers, I mean.
When we first got into YouTube, we were in our like very
20s.
early 30s. And I remember we went to our
Are
first...
you serious?
Yeah.
I thought you're in your 20s.
No lah.
When you started, like,
Please, don't.
Don't bother us up. You all are on the podcast
I can't watch any Gary V videos really because they all don't apply to me anymore. Everything is like 40 and below. If you're 30, you're just starting out. If you're 35, you're
you
just
have
starting
made your
out.
way out of his target demographic.
I mean, right now you're on the cusp, lah. You're at the door already.
I mean, Tony Robbins door already.
Tony Robbins.
You're just 60 and just starting out.
No, because we went to our first influencer event in 2014, and like it felt like this bunch of like my young cousins, no. And I think one of them also said, we told them our age. I was 30, he was 32 at that time, and you're like, oh shit, you guys are 30. Oh my god.
Fucking old, man.
Fucking old, bro.
They're retiring soon.
They were like 21, 22 and all that. But I think it was helpful because when you see comments when you're a bit older, I think you're like, okay, like you care about it less. But even up till today, right, once in a while there'll be some comment, right? I read, then I'm also surprised by how much it gets to me.
I think we're not made for this, you know, like the idea of like, and it's great, like the internet and social media, because it means that the individual, right, can have access with very, very low production budget to basically the whole world. If you make a good YouTube video like Casey Neistat for a very low budget, if it's good, people will see it. And suddenly you have so many people looking at your shit and possibly commenting. Last time, like, to publish, right, was such a big barrier because you had to get in with the TV people or you had to get in with the movie network people. And then they would shield you from all this hate mail that people might write with a fucking quill and ink and all that. And you would never see it. But now, like, everybody can knock, hey, hello, I don't like your thing. Wrong, take it off, change it. You know? And I don't think we have figured out how to deal with that kind of thing, you know, en masse, you know, there's so many people. I always get the kanchong feeling of like, I don't reply this person, is it rude, you know? But I move fast.
Even the concept of 150,000 followers, like I don't even know what a crowd of 150,000 people literally looks like.
Yeah, what's like a U2 concert?
Is that indoor stadium, outdoor stadium? You know, I can't tell. So when you think about the number of people who are actually listening to what you're saying, it's kind of mind-blowing. But actually, one of the reasons why I think very interesting for us to talk to you is because, you guys probably do a much more intellectual level of content than what's the typical thing out there, lah. And I don't want to say like we are very intellectual at that, but we also try to. We've also moved past the 6 second. Let's make the fine limit. Or let's go pick up girls on the street and do stupid pranks.
Oh my God. Oh wow, you guys have that video?
That's how we started.
It's all there, man.
Go check it out.
Yeah.
That was our first few viral videos.
Yeah. That's how we got
so
famous,
weird one, man, like pick up girls and all. I remember one where you roll in some public fountain.
That one also got.
That was hilarious. Then you got the aircon one with the tissue paper roll.
Yeah.
Not the same video, right? Not roll in public fountain pick up girls.
Yeah, but I feel like that kind of concept was a cut above, say, like pranks and like pick up girls and stuff.
Yeah,
but I didn't know y'all did that at the start.
We did that.
Before that was the pickup
Maybe that was the meta required to even.
No, because I think we tried to do more like scripted narrative and all, and we're like, fuck, we're getting nowhere. Then we started seeing those videos go do well in the US, and like generally it was untouched in Singapore, lah. And we're like, fuck it,
wow, banana, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No. Wild banana is listicles, lah.
Imagine type of students,
remember that scene in 2012? I think it was like Noah Yap, Dikosh, all these people, they were eating prata. How many pratas can you squeeze in your mouth? And then Wild Banana came out, like, hey, wow, very high production quality, 10 types of things, very easy to watch. And you just switch off your brain and can watch. And then everyone was doing that, right?
That kind of,
But nobody was doing stuff on the street. Nobody was like, what does the average Singaporean look like? How do they respond to things happening?
Right.
So, I have a psychology background, like social psych and all these experiments. It was my dream, to be in academia and then you go and do all these experiments. For like 10 minutes, maybe.
10 minutes.
I'm not cut up for that,
Right.
Then the concept of pranks, that's essentially it, right? And then you set certain parameters and all that.
Right.
And
then he found someone who has no dignity when the camera goes on. So it's the perfect
Is that how you
pairing.
describe yourself? My skill set, I got
Once the camera goes on, right?
I go.
Fucking everything goes out the window.
But actually, it's true. That was one thing I had to really take my hat off when I was first working.
Right.
He had a day job, He was working a legit, respectable, like executive
marketing
job.
Or something?
E-commerce, head of
E-com
e-commerce for Scoot.
Yeah, Scoot Airlines, But at the same time, he was wearing those ballerina
his
tights.
career on the line.
Yeah, ballerina tights and prancing.
I remember when I handed my resignation in, my boss, I had a good relationship, and he had the team gathered to tell them that I'm leaving. He was like, okay, everyone, Harish is leaving us for this shit. Then he played one of my YouTube videos.
He said literally this shit.
Yeah, but it was
hilarious.
Like I had a very good relationship
like a
with him.
roasting kind of thing.
Yeah. Then everybody just watched the video and I was like, yeah, guys, I'm
good luck, bro.
For that shit.
Yeah. But so we did. That's how our channel grew, and that's why our channel is stagnant now because we don't do that stuff anymore. So all the 100 and over 1,000 people who follow us because we were picking up girls and all that, they're like, what the fuck is this shit now? What's this podcast nonsense?
Right.
Yeah.
What's this current affairs shit?
We moved past the pickup stuff, but a lot of on the street stuff we were doing.
Yeah.
Then when COVID hit, when we started doing TV shows, we haven't gone back to that. Even though people still always ask us, can you guys go back to doing that? Maybe at some point, don't know.
Because when you say prank, I was thinking the YouTube kind where like the somewhat recent one where they would like literally it's a fake prank. All the gold digger things, I'm like,
All
what
those are
the
fake, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Correct,
they also
correct.
can do content.
It was that era. It was
Who's
that
falling
era.
for this?
Yeah.
Like, but
That-
y'all never did until like that, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
we never faked anything.
faking
Faked
it. You see,
anything.
that's the thing.
Yeah, we never faked
We never
anything.
faked it. We always made it like we want to show that Singaporeans can be funny. Because you know, around that time there was this
Yes,
thing about
yes.
Singaporeans emotionless and all that.
Oh yeah, I think that's like 2015 or something.
Yeah. And we didn't like that. But I mean, but emotionless also can be quite funny, right? When they
Can
don't
be a
react.
dry sort of humor.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So we wanted to prove you can find that kind of funny in Singapore. So that's what we did, lah.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. We're not embarrassed by our background.
No, man.
Because that's what it took to.
Of
That's
course.
what it took to differentiate ourselves from all of them. But that's why now today, when I see young people trying different kinds of content, even if it doesn't float my boat, I'm like, okay, at least they're trying.
Respect the hustle.
Yeah, at some point they'll grow older and then they want to do different things and then they'll move on lah. So,
True.
but for you guys, like almost from day one lah, right? There's this. It sounds like there's this big mission that you all were on to like
earn money.
awaken. I'm trying to set you up, then you spike
No, it's
it
not that
and
noble. It's not that noble, honestly.
Really,
because
right?
how it started was that we would meet up socially because we are friends. Like
Yeah.
I've known him since we were in poly.
Yeah.
We worked together on this company called Mothership, So
Yes.
he got me in. Then we also never worked together there that closely. It's like sometimes he has an idea of a comic or like some kind of a strip, then he'll say it, then I'll do it. And
But this was outside of Mothership.
no, for Mothership.
Oh,
but
for
like, with
Mothership.
our spare time, we do,
You
like.
all were sitting like with each other, next to each other. in the
No, he
office,
just
or-
talked to me on got this thing about the water thing, or like remember the Terex was
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
confiscated.
Hong Kong,
Then
right?
he drew. He said, "Hey, I got this idea. What if we draw the Terex coming back to Singapore, having conversations about, hey, what you miss about Singapore? Oh, I miss the chicken rice. Oh, I miss like Zoom all that.
Oh,
And
so
we drew that in a comic.
That
right?
made it to comics on Mothership.
On Mothership.
Yeah.
I think it did quite well. Yeah.
Then when I think there was like a utilities hike, we just did like all the MRT,
Yes.
water volley, like going on a hike.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
So
uphill.
literally fair hike. So we did all
Yeah.
this like semi-political comics
commentary
or like
kind
a
of things,
commentary.
right?
But
kind
you
of
were
stuff.
at Mothership as a writer.
Yeah.
And Chun, you were
I actually joined as an
illustrator?
animator and an illustrator first. Then later on, I found out that I was one of the few people who knew how to use a DSLR because I was into photography. And then that
Oh.
translated to videography. Then I made my way on sort of like doing more and more videos for Mothership. But we would meet socially, like going back to what I was saying, right? We meet socially outside of work. Whether we were at Mothership or like after Mothership. And a lot of times our topic of conversation would end up being, how do we make money? Because we want to sort of escape the rat race, start our business and things like that. So we would throw a lot of these ideas around. And Woke Salaryman, in its inception, not ashamed to say at all, was an idea to make money. And we wanted to...
But what was the idea to make money? Talking about
idea
money.
initially-
Talking about money to make money.
No. So okay, so
you
not
can-
not via sponsored content.
Yeah.
So the idea is that we will show people like, you know what, you can actually make like a topic such as personal finance actually interesting.
And that was around which year? That was around
This
which
was
year?
2019.
around there.
Yeah. So the idea was that we will use that as a portfolio piece to approach clients and maybe do content for them, or maybe even like teach the team how to do content.
Yeah, so it's like saying, look, you know the complicated and boring topic of personal finance? Well, we made a page on YouTube making content about it and we got about 25k followers. So if you, as SIA, as Shangi, as whatever, want to do that on the content side of things, we can help you do that
For
as a
your
consultant.
industry or for personal
For
finance?
whatever industry, medical,
Yeah.
whatever, real estate,
Oh.
whatever. So we're going to use that as a portfolio piece to say, hey, look, we can make boring and complex things accessible for the general public.
But what made you zoom in on personal finance?
Yeah, that's why.
Because he knew about it.
Yeah.
And I always talk to him about it because I'm more noob than him. And he's more technically proficient. So every time I come out, I got my debt. I'm like, hey, what should I do? Should I invest first? Then he'll tell me, oh, don't invest first. Pay off the debt first.
But then even then, that means you guys did identify it as a boring topic. And if you can make that entertaining.
Because money is in shit. Money is in things that nobody else want to touch.
Yeah.
So-
Or was it because every time you talk to Ruiming, you're like fucking bored?
Fucking bored or broke?
Bored.
No,
Because
I'm
for
not
you
bored.
to have that thing that, okay, personal finance is damn boring.
I'm not bored. You know why? Because I had a $25,000 debt to NTU that I had to pay off. So at that time, I was looking for ways to better my financial situation because I felt like crap that I owe so much money.
But to clarify, that was for your education lah.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
My
you
bachelor's
borrow-
degree lah.
Okay. They're not to
Because I
borrow
had to
money
pay it
from
off myself
NTU.
lah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
No,
not like loan shark or whatever lah.
Yeah. But so that's why you decided to take those frustrations that you had day to day, and
No, it's not frustration. It's just that I'm interested in personal
interested.
finance
Okay,
also.
okay.
As sort of a newbie, then he actually knows a lot about investing.
But let's say
as
you're
well.
interested in photography also. Like, why couldn't it have been a?
Because there's no money in it. Because the supply is so much.
okay,
That's why I'm
okay.
saying like there's money in shit, you know? Like
There's money.
that's why if you want to do content,
Okay.
right?
So that means you guys had the foresight to think that, okay, there's no one doing personal finance. There's going to be companies that might want to do content around personal finance.
Yeah,
or
so some other like things like that, for example, real estate, medical, financial products, insurance, things like that.
So you wanted to make unsexy things sexy.
Exactly. Because the sexy things are 1,000 people trying to make sexy things.
I think like everyone can make like a cool travel video. Everyone or make travel interesting. I mean, if you take a nice picture of like let's say the Himalayas, the pictures will just sell itself.
Speak for itself.
Yeah. But I think it's harder to educate people on the more complex topics, and I think that is also an advantage because we have experience creating content. Like creating slightly harder, more complex pieces of content. So I think that would give us an edge.
It was a strategic play, but I also have tremendous amounts of respect for, I think, people like yourselves who have managed to wade into like something that is somewhat crowded, like the lifestyle space. But I think you guys identified it early. You started the Vox Pop thing earlier than everybody else because you saw it in the US first, and then you managed to make your stand in that space. But I think strategically, we just thought, let's not play somewhere crowded. We are both sort of interested in personal finance. There's nobody that's combining personal finance and comics and easy copywriting together.
But did you all want
Let's put
to
it together.
start off as like a company that provides services to like what you said, the clients? Or to become
we want to sell
creators?
workshops actually.
Oh, you want to sell workshops?
You know why? Because workshop, I thought, wow, one deck
like
of slides.
Adam Khoo like that, right?
One deck of slides, we do 2 hours, few $1,000.
Not Adam Khoo, because Adam Khoo teaches like financial workshops. We want to teach people how to make better content.
Yeah, content.
So
financial workshop.
Please no, because like
That's why I thought I'm like, guys.
No.
Too much tech. Too much
We're not
tech.
doing that.
Okay,
It's brought to you by the Woke Salaryman.
So in 2019, a picture of success for a business is that let's say we have Woke Salaryman, the page, right? Then maybe like Scoot will approach us to say, hey, we like your style of, and philosophy behind creating content for Woke Salaryman. You want to try to do it with travel?
Yeah.
Or maybe like a medical company, right? I mean, let's say Baxter or something. Oh, we want to educate people on how certain drugs,
Pharmaceutical advocate for general B2C kind of thing, like so the average consumer.
So
knows more.
almost like comics as a service, like.
Yes.
Yeah, the service
not
is
teaching people how to invest.
Yes,
we have never done that so far.
I see.
Yes.
But so I just want to push back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You all say personal finance not sexy, but there's so many, a lot of personal finance gurus literally on YouTube. They're good-looking people.
Are they sexy?
They dress well. They're standing in front of yachts or standing in front of condos, talking about how I'm going to help you make money. How do you? Where's the line, or how do you avoid that line where you become a sort of like those charlatans? Yeah, those they selling you personal finance, but actually they're just selling a course, right?
I think the issue with that demographic, I mean that the bunch of people, is that they often sell the idea of like getting rich quick
or easy.
I think getting rich quick is like the main difference between what I feel like a reputable like seller would do versus like someone who preaches more like long-term thinking.
Yeah,
because often like all these gurus, right, they sell like investment as a way to escape the rat race.
Yes.
To kind of like a magic bullet to all their financial problems.
Yeah.
And that is often not the case.
That's not.
Yeah.
So I think anything that uses like a lot of money or like very
high percentage year on year kind of yield, that kind of thing.
either that or like very good looking people to show like, this is the ideal lifestyle. I feel that already the kind of advertising starts in the wrong place.
I see.
Because it doesn't really show like the real picture of what it takes to achieve wealth in some way.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Ruiming, but I feel like for me personally, a lot of the most sound financial things that you can say and advocate for are the most boring things you will hear. The percentage also like 1-digit one, like 5%, 8% every year. But like it has gotten, actually I feel like the personal finance scene has gotten sexier in the past 3 years because of crypto, because of like
COVID.
people making big gains in the market. To the point where like I tell people, I teach part-time at NTU sometimes, right? Then I tell my students like, you can aim for about like 5 to 8% every year, and that will beat inflation. And they're like, bro, my friend doing 20% every year on crypto leh. But that is in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
So of course my 5% is not sexy at all.
Yeah.
So if you are sexy, I will watch out. Because a lot of things like one of the most fundamental precepts, for example, is that time is your most valuable resource when it comes to accruing wealth and growing your money. So anyone that tells you otherwise, get rich quick. That is very, very, you have to be very wary of that stuff.
I think many people sell the dream of like 100xing your investment.
Yeah.
What often
Very
happens
sexy,
like
huh?
is
Yeah.
on the way to 100x investment, you lose your capital.
Yeah.
And you can't draw it out.
Yeah.
You can't draw it
Yeah.
out.
Or
There's
some people-
survivorship bias also. You don't hear those stories. You hear the ones that make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Exactly.
1% that makes it.
Because no one goes on YouTube and like, oh, I lost, $10,000 this
But
year.
you have to dig and the algorithm won't push because people
Yeah.
won't see these things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or either they start off, I lost $10,000 3 years ago, but 2 years ago I made $150,000, right?
Exactly.
But can we bring it down to like on the ground level? Like, because what you're saying is great, and I think you all have managed to stay above that level of when
Cacophony,
I hear
the noise,
personal finance. I always think all those gurus and all that. But you all have stayed above that. You all seem like the good guys, lah. But it seems to come from a very like this is your personal ethics kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what do you all do to make sure that people who join you, people who do stuff with you, everyone is on the same page in terms of understanding that this is you're aiming for this level, lah.
You ask them how many percentage returns you get. 20%?
Oh,
Fuck
yeah.
off, yeah.
But we don't need to filter them.
You don't
Because
need
there's a
to-
plethora of content out there. If you're after 20%, 50% every year, there's somebody probably making content for you. Whether you are likely to actually succeed because of their advice, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I think also in a lot of ways, we don't need to curate because they self-select. People that hear our points of view, sometimes we do make stuff just to preach to the choir because you want to remind people, hey, here are the values that we stand by.
Yeah.
That's okay also. But sometimes also we purposely go and make content to prod at people who will not typically come across our content.
Yeah.
To say, hey, you want to come over this side or not?
Yeah.
Here's
but
what you should think about
you
it.
asking about their hires or their community?
Oh, you mean hires?
Hires, but also let's say I'm one of those gurus and I say, hey, Woke Salaryman, when I pay you guys money to promote my content, which is about 100xing your investment in my course, I give you a lot of money. Then how will you all say no to that?
So there's a principle kind of thing where on
yeah.
principle we won't do it because that's not our ethics. But also,
Okay.
I don't think it makes sense money-wise. Because what you are doing is for that one big payout of say $5 million, you are betraying all this trust that you have accrued, all this goodwill that you've built up that will actually probably in 10 years, we are thinking be more profitable. But I also think it's very hard to live with yourself if you just exit with a whole bunch of money. Then you just disappear off social media. I think there is value in being socially influential. I know it's not very nice to hear, it's not very nice to say, it's not like I want to be a star or anything. But it's nice to know that you have a voice and that if you feel strongly about an issue, you talk about it. People will listen to you and they will hear you out. That's nice. If you take that money, sell that 100x and then just F off with 5 mil and retire, you will lose that. And for me, I feel like, it's okay. I'd rather go back 9 to 5. This fails. I never took that $5 million. I go back 9 to 5. But I have my code intact. I'd rather that, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like I reached the point of life, like, I think reputation matters a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
really?
financially already quite comfortable.
Yeah.
So why do something that ruins their reputation?
Yeah, I
But
mean, would you guys...
5 mil, and then you can still go back to 9 to 5 after that, lah.
Okay, I don't think there's a lot of difference between your quality of life between, like, let's say 1 mil and 5 mil.
It depends what you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you like watches and cars, I
For
think
me lah, for
got
me.
difference. Yeah. But for us, we generally quite... I mean, we cycle for fun. We don't have a lot of very expensive hobbies like cars and watches.
Okay.
Like I play video games.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like, okay, sometimes $60 purchase AAA title. That's about it.
Okay.
So the difference between 1 mil and 10 mil or 5 mil to me, actually not that much, I feel. I feel I have enough point. I have a very clear idea of how much money I want.
Okay.
And if I get it, I get it. But I mean, like, if I reverse the question to y'all, like, is there an amount of money that y'all would take, right? To say, if I take this amount of money, right, MOF, Laugh Media, gone, nobody will ever hire us again, but we can retire now. Would you take it?
Wow.
So I think that one, it's almost like, how you say? So okay, so the way like I think about the brands that we have, Ministry of Funny, Yalabat, Folklore and all, it's almost like it's just the same kind of stuff taking different forms. Which is why, like right now, when we haven't uploaded on MOF for fucking long, I'm not too like angsty about it because we are still creating content. We have evolved, but if you look at it, our MOF thing is super stagnant, lah.
Yeah.
And people don't even approach us for MOF stuff anymore. They know the brand.
Yeah.
So I think that question, like I think it's not a super yes or no because in my mind, if you take the money, there's also stuff you can do with that money to amplify.
Yeah, but you will forever be tarnished with that. That means whatever you do as Harish, whatever you do as Terrence, people will go, hey, these fuckers last time they took 5 mil and just betray everybody and sold defective products to people that cause people to lose their savings.
Oh,
you know?
no,
Like
so
the defective
That
products.
is what the
Okay,
100x
okay.
people can
so-
sometimes do, you know.
Oh, so you're tying it to something that you don't believe in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that one fuck no.
almost
Yeah.
analytical.
Yeah, so it's very clear.
No,
right?
Almost
yeah,
analytical.
yeah.
That one very
That one
clear,
very
yeah,
clear.
very
I thought you
clear.
say, okay, here's 5 million blank check. You can do whatever you want. You want to save the world, you go ahead.
Yeah.
But if you're tying it to something that really doesn't stick
I mean,
by
blank
our
check, I
ethics,
think, yeah, blank check.
oh yeah,
Yeah, of course.
5 mil, we
Yeah.
sell the company.
Okay, so the disclaimer there is
Maybe,
that it is tied to a product
It
you don't believe in.
destroys your reputation,
Oh, then
yeah.
then fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Fuck
have
that.
we have said
Yeah.
no to
Fuck
certain.
that.
Yeah, I think it has
certain
to.
things
Fuck
before.
that.
Yeah,
Correct,
we have
correct.
to
I
say
think
no.
during last year, I think we could have made so much money within short term.
We just take everything, right?
Like I think people are begging us to shield a lot of coins.
yes.
Yes.
We could have become like
Crypto, yes.
super like multi-millionaires
like
last year.
crypto
Okay.
and
Yes.
everything.
Yeah, like easily. Right. But yeah, I mean,
But you
but
said
it's,
no.
it's not the right
Wow.
thing to do. And
But-
I mean, and I do think about the money we give up.
Yeah, like,
Wow.
wow, shit, did
I
we
was like,
fuck
whoa,
up,
am I a dumbass? Yeah, probably.
In 10 years, we're on the streets and we're like, we should take the money.
So was it a tough conversation between two of you, or you all were like
No, I
very
think quite
clear about
clear.
it?
Yeah, I think it's quite clear.
we
But
argue
it's-
about
it's-
things,
it's-
but this was not one of them.
And it's the two of you who basically this kind of existential questions. Two of you answer it lah.
But very, very clear. I think even if we haven't talked about it, I think I
Yeah.
can guess what you will say about
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
We are like almost.
Because we are friends from before also.
Yeah.
Which is also sometimes a dangerous thing. Like probably you all are friends also, right?
Yeah.
To start a business together. But so
Yeah.
far, okay. lah.
Yeah,
Woke
I-
Salaryman selling Lunar coin. You know, everybody come and get it. Then the two of them in Bahamas after that. Let's
No,
help
Yeah,
them.
I mean, imagine that, dude. Like,
okay,
imagine that.
okay, so I want to disclaim, like, okay, because our page, we did talk about Luna Coin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. But we always say, like, no more than 5%
I never bought Luna also
of
personally.
your
yeah.
of your net worth, lah.
Yeah.
Because I think really last year, Luna was one of the more
It seemed like one of the safer ones,
like
you know?
blue
right?
chip
Yeah.
projects.
Yeah, really among
Right.
crypto, yeah.
So I did tell people I did invest in it, but this is what I'm doing, and I'm
disclosure,
only investing 5%
Right.
on my net worth. And if you want to invest in crypto, I recommend you don't expose your portfolio too much to it, and also be prepared that it might become zero.
Mm.
So I said it last year, and then this year it did become zero.
Mm.
So yeah,
So I think like what you said, I think for me and Terrence also certain things very clear we won't do lah.
Yeah.
But I think what I've always liked about you guys is when you do branded stuff, it is fucking upfront. And was that a very conscious thing? Like even it's like the first line, you know, like this is branded.
Because I watch YouTube, like
Yeah.
my favorite platform for now is YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I think YouTube has perfectly balanced the idea of like paying creators versus other platforms. It's not perfect, of course.
But more
But
so
I
than
just
other
like
platforms, yeah.
I just like that my content creator goes, okay, before we carry on, it's sponsored by NordVPN, blah, 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 and then
Yeah.
then also okay, we just live with it. Because last time it used to be called like what native advertising, right? Or sponsored content used to be called. It would be like you read the article halfway, walao sponsor, then they never say, right?
Yeah,
So I'd rather you just tell me straight, and we are content creators, and I think people are more and more understanding as like, for example, your kids will also work in a social media company. People understand more and more that they need to earn money,
need to earn,
right?
lah, they need to earn.
So I'd rather you be upfront with it and just say it. You know?
you
That's
rather
part of what we do,
develop the sponsor content to be as shareable or as meaningful or as useful as the organic content.
Yeah.
I think that's another way we try to protect our viewers as well.
Yeah.
Right? To make sure like we will not publish anything that we will not publish organically.
Yourselves, yeah.
Mm.
I'm very glad that we cleared up that thing about the $5 million.
Yeah, because otherwise we
I was
come
like,
across like assholes at that.
$5 million. So yeah, blank check, sure.
Yeah.
But wow, that means you all really live what you all are putting down on paper lah. The Woke Salaryman.
We can sleep at night very easy.
Yeah.
There are people that disagree with us anyway,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's fine. But we have our own code and we are
So
very okay. with
amongst your teams, because you have employees also, right?
it. Yeah, we have
So
colleagues, yeah.
do these sort of things come up where you guys philosophically differ from the people who work for you?
Interesting question.
I don't think as of now there is, but maybe in the future. And I mean, you can just talk it out. Like why you disagree? Here's my point of view.
I think it wouldn't be bad also to
Yeah.
have somebody, for example, who's very alpha and very into 100x stuff. But it's just we have to use that resource as a way of like checking another blind spot. Lor.
Yeah, but I think ultimately we will decide.
I mean,
What
okay,
is it?
there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with wanting to be a very alpha investor, with wanting very good returns. It's just that if you are selling that shit in a workshop, I feel like marketing-wise, you need to say that upfront that this is very risky.
Very risky. Yeah.
And that you need to own the risk that you take on because there's no free meal.
Yeah.
Like, more risk means more reward and vice versa.
I think you can see it in like the crypto space last year.
Yeah.
At first, everyone was saying, "Oh, decentralized finance, decentralized finance.
Yeah.
Go invest in crypto. I'm going to be free of the governments. They can't do anything to me." This year, Luna
Recession
crash.
won't touch it, man.
Begging the government.
They go back the government to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's the regulation?
Yeah, well, oh my god, please regulate crypto. Like, how can they take their money from me? But bro, you put the money inside,
Yeah.
and you knew government was not involved. Then how can you ask people
You
to?
didn't want government
Yeah,
to be
you didn't want.
involved.
Then how come you can't cherry pick when the government comes to help you?
Yeah. So there's no right or wrong. It's just if you want to go and do aggressive marketing,
Yeah.
you better damn well disclaim the risk. And if you don't, then I think you're an asshole.
So like amongst your family and friends, are you like the de facto finance people? Like at family gatherings and all, people come to you like, hey, what are your thoughts on this? What are
Actually,
your thoughts
for
on
me
that?
personally, among my friends, and my family doesn't talk much about investment. My family's all in Malaysia, right? I'm Malaysian, so they don't talk about it as much. They only talk about like real estate, like buy house, buy land, that kind of thing, maybe. But then like, among my friends, certainly, sometimes I'm in social settings where I feel like as one of the people that work for Woke Salaryman, I have a lot of things to say about personal finance and stuff, and also investments. But I've also been in social settings where my friends just want to feel validated about their investment. So they talk very aggressively. And I have learned to just quietly sit there and
As in they talk to you lah, or the group?
no, the group. So they're talking in a group setting about, wow, this investment make this. And I'm like thinking, dude, that's a bit much in terms of the risk that you're exposing. But I also don't say, because I don't want to pop other people, but I don't want to piss on other people's bonfire, right? So my approach nowadays is like unsolicited, I won't say.
Because last time you would say... if it
Because
was
when you say,
unsolicited-
then they got a whole bunch of other shit that they heard from some other person. They didn't do the
Then you never
technical
take out your
analysis
Instagram
themselves.
like, hey bro, I got 200,000 plus.
I also don't want to do that. I mean, that's a very asshole thing to
that's
do.
a
Got blue tick, right? See my blue tick, right?
Everything like, hey, I Woke Salaryman, co-founder.
You walk or not?
It's like the kind of people carry your PSLE result around with you. Your grandma mistake, A1. What fuck you say? Cannot lah, right? But are you an expert? Do you think
I think people do ask me, but I also don't go and tell people what they do like actively. Like only if they ask me lah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of people in my social circle do ask me what I think about whatever.
Yeah, I used to ask him all the time about stuff that I should be doing about my dad, whether I should start investing, when should I start investing. But I think solicitor is okay lah.
I see.
Because when it comes to these things, like it's always like in social setting, especially when you can say what you're investing in, and it doesn't require any backing up. It's not like I had a research paper that shows that this stock or this crypto company has this one mechanic. It's not like I understand the deep workings of cryptocurrency anyway. It's just people here saying I hear this on a hype. I feel good about this stock. Nothing to talk about. So I rather just jut out and listen to it and smile politely lah.
I think even if their philosophy or like their strategy like differs from us, I mean they can still be successful.
They can still be right as well. Yeah.
So the way I see it is like martial arts school, right? Like
Got many stands.
let's say we do taekwondo, right? I don't need to go shit on a
Wing Chun.
on a Wing Chun or a Muay Thai
They
person.
run so fast for what?
Yeah. So it's just
for
like
him.
okay, I recognize that there are different degrees of maybe even like Wing Chun people. Everyone got different ability.
Yeah.
Everyone prefers to fight in a different way.
Yeah.
This is just our way. If you like it, then you
Hang around,
hang around. If you don't like it, you can just do your own thing.
elsewhere,
Lah.
that's
I don't have
fine.
any responsibility to you, and you don't need to listen to me or whatever.
You're like the mixed martial artist, lah. Like you see the Wing Chun expert, and
You
you
take
know
what
you
you
can.
need to complement your style or your preference. Like
Yeah.
if I have longer arms, then maybe some style will suit me better.
I see,
Or
I
I
see.
want to be a more defensive fighter because I don't want to go and aggro people. Then you take on the styles, you consider your style, then you
I mean,
choose one.
sometimes even the people we disagree with, like they'll say something like quite intelligent. I'm like, I
Oftentimes
could
that
probably
happens.
use that.
But I won't do your strategy because I'm not you. I don't have the same resources as you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for example, someone with 10 million will invest very differently with someone with 1 million or like $100,000.
Yeah.
So when you follow like these gurus, it's important to understand their financial context
Yeah.
of
Correct,
who they are.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say let's say someone with $10 million, they can afford to lose 50% of the net worth and they still be okay.
Yeah.
Because 5 million, you can still pay your bills. Certainly,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They lose 90% also. It's quite
If I
painful.
got
Yeah.
1.6k in my bank, I lose 50%. I'm done.
Yeah.
I cannot pay rent next month already.
Exactly. Let's say you have 100K then you're in your mid-30s, you lose 50% of that.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
So the context matters. Sometimes these gurus also say like, oh, I make $10,000
With one trade.
Yeah, with one trade.
Yeah.
But they now talk about how much capital they have.
Correct.
Let's say they already earn 5 million from the course fees.
Yeah.
And then 10,000 is how much only?
Or they go in with $2 million. Then they say, oh, I earn 20K in one trade. But the percentage is like actually quite little.
Yeah.
Correct. So do you all spend a lot of time reading finance, or is it more like, okay, there's that side of you, but there's other sides of you where you are like you're equally interested in other stuff, or you all live and breathe like personal finance?
He lives and breathes it more because we lean on him a lot as a technical expert. Yeah, what my role is typically is I'm the layman advocate. So if something is too chim for me to understand, I'll go, hey, we need to dumb this down a bit because I don't understand
And
it.
between the two of you, you are the lead of the comic artist.
Typically, I would be more in terms of like art direction and visual storytelling. But sometimes I write also. But when I write also, it's not technical stuff. I write about things like, I wrote one about how I was jealous of him because he had more money than me. So like sometimes
I remember
mental
that post.
health.
I remember
because
that
money actually is not just black and white, min max. Make money, lose money. It's also tied up with a lot of things like relationships, health. Your ability to think long term. A lot of things that are also softer gets tied into it also. So you don't need to be a deep expert technically to be able to talk about money.
Yeah.
I also think that many people fixate on investing when it comes to personal finance. But actually, a lot of personal finance is actually negotiating for a salary, getting a in-demand skill, supply and understanding supply and demand,
Staying relevant in the workforce,
staying relevant workplace,
upgrading yourself,
being likable among your colleagues, learning how to solve conflicts in the workplace. So these might not be seen as personal finance, but they will affect how much money flows in your bank account.
because that is controlled by the self. Like whether I upskill, whether I try hard at work, whether I network, it's things that I can control, and it feels like I know what these things are already. So when you consider all the possible pillars of wealth, investing always sometimes I think like, especially to hopeful or desperate people, seems like a magic bullet that is outside of my capabilities. So it's even better than what I can do. So if I do this investing thing, like, wow, it will propel me, but the fundamental is still self.
But then, I mean, when I first started, like working, I was working on Wall Street in finance.
Oh, really?
So I was earning a pretty decent salary. But I had to pay rent in New York, it's expensive. But I was reading this blog called "I Will Teach You to Be Rich." And this was 2007.
I know.
Ramit Sethi.
And then I was doing all those things. I set up the ING account, then every month transfer, blah 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 blah. And then I was talking to my fellow friends in finance, all that about this. And then I just remember clearly one of them just laughed at me, or maybe not laugh at me, not so bad, but he was like, you do this kind of thing, you'll never be rich, Anna. You want to really be rich is really about the, rich person investing, angel investing or doing all that kind of thing.
Or VC.
Yeah, he said you will be comfortable maybe when you do all these things, I will teach you to be rich, but you'll never be rich. And I mean, I was young and impressionable back then. Of course, I thought, actually, there can't be. I mean, I don't do all that stuff anymore. But what do you say to people like that who have that kind of thoughts?
Like the people who say you will never be rich.
You will never be rich. You will get by.
If you do that basic thing.
Yeah, you do that. It's a lot of work to do even the basics, right?
Yeah.
So they say, why don't you take all the amount of work you're doing and really focus on stuff that will really give you a
basically
chance
the
to
sensible,
be rich,
boring things like. Or put away like DCA
bonds
every month,
and
put a bit away, work on earning power, this kind of thing.
So I understand that point of view because I think a lot of personal finance, other than investing side, that I want to get the most attention is how to be a penny pincher, right? How to get the most cashback, cheapest coffee. But there's a limit of how much you can save also, right? But what you want is to have a large base so that you can save more from. But so the problem with personal finance nowadays is people either fixate on saving too much, become penny pinchers. They focus on investing too much, they take on too much risk. Not enough people talking about how to earn more money. I think your friend is right when it comes to being efficient. It's best you put if your goal is indeed to create wealth, focus on what might work best for you when it comes to growing money. But I think overall, all the personal finance thing, like even like budgeting, all this, like it is important to not to fixate on it, but just to leave it at the back of your mind so you don't overspend or you do not like take too much risks.
I also think like your friend said, like it will not make you rich. Or the term rich itself is a subjective term. I think wealth actually is a little bit more objective, but wealth also very subjective because there's no marker, there's no middle ground that we consider unless you're talking about median salary. Then in that case, you should be more precise. Like it will not get you to the 90th percentile of wealth in your country or whatever demographic, right? So it also comes back to what Ruiming was saying, contextual. Like what is your life like? What do you want? If I just want a simple life with 2 kids, why would I need multi-million dollars?
Yeah.
Unless that kind of thing makes you happy, which is fine, then you go and take on all this additional risk and hustle this additionally hard because, or die, I just have this curse that I love cars.
Yeah.
Then I want Ferrari or I want multiple cars, then I gotta do that life, lor. Then hoping I do lah. But why would I do that when I know that I can be satisfied with a regular job?
But so for you, do you want your kids to, like as JC says, running on charters, doing all the shit that I never did? Or do you want your kids to, essentially like...
What does
like
that mean,
live
running on charters on shit?
like chartered planes, running on charters, doing the shit I
think that
never
spoils
did.
a kid, I think like
Really?
I think the biggest problem rich people have, and this is just me like anyhow talking cock here, right?
Yeah.
Is that you're afraid that your kids grow up spoiled.
Yeah.
And I've a feeling that having your kids live that kind of lifestyle, like it destroys them and it doesn't give them the right context to view the world. I think problems are a very important part of what makes you get up in the morning. And if you cease to have problems,
Yeah.
you have no meaning, and then that can lead to a miserable life.
You're talking about all those like ultra rich asiakas who...
Ultra rich or like people who just have no objective.
Okay.
And sometimes objective doesn't just mean like a mission. It could be I want to solve a problem for somebody else in life. And that kind of thing gives you drive and purpose, and I think is what gives you a long and meaningful life.
Got it.
And I feel like these rich kids, if you get used to that, you are standing up for trouble because if they never wean themselves off of it, and in some situation, wealth doesn't come to them in their generation, then they are going to be quite miserable. I'd rather under-promise, over-deliver than over-promise, under-deliver.
So you're saying that as a parent, you would like maybe not give them everything.
Yeah,
everything
if I was
you
a
could-
multi-millionaire, if I
Yeah.
had $10 million and I had
Yeah.
a kid, I would not give that kid much of anything in terms of wealth.
Yeah.
I might even say something that Ruiming's father told him, but in a much nicer way, which is like, you might inherit nothing. I might try to spend or give away all my wealth before I die, and you're not going to get much of it.
Oh, your dad told you.
Yeah.
told
I
you
mean,
that.
not that he's very wealthy. I just,
Yeah.
just want to clear that because people always think he's a multi-millionaire. But he just implied that, I'll give nothing to you when I die. So yeah, I thought,
But did he tell you that when you were
I
young?
think like when I was 25 or something.
So was that like a time where you're like, oh shit?
I was very annoyed at him because
Mm.
I have a lot of wealthy friends and then their parents gave them car, gave them condo.
Yeah.
Then I was like, well, we're not even that rich. Then you say this kind of shit to me. And like,
Oh.
now I'm going to fall even more like economically behind.
But was that what kicked you into like your interest
I think
in personal finance?
One of the things, yeah. So I thought like I'm going to show that old man, what I can do.
Also, it came from spite.
I mean, part of it
wow.
Part of it was spite. No, I think you're oversimplifying. Yeah.
Sorry. But I think now he also sort of learned that lesson, and he
Yeah.
sort of somewhat
Okay.
thankful to your dad.
because
also.
now I realize like, actually I was being entitled, right? Like why did I think that my dad have to give me money just because other parents gave them? So I found it better to be able to run on your own steam
Yeah.
eventually. I think the problem with raising rich kids and getting them used to a lifestyle that they did not earn is that you might harm the kid eventually, especially if they're not armed with the skills to earn as much money as you did.
Yeah,
So let's say you get your kid used to
Private jets.
30, okay, maybe 30K a month lifestyle,
30K
Yeah.
months.
but your kid's capability is only
10K.
10K, still not bad, still 10K,
Yeah, still pretty
right?
well.
Well, only 10K.
But eventually, every month minus 20K, no matter how rich you are, eventually that will add up.
Yeah.
You, I think, let's say some celebrities are like, you follow Conor McGregor. It's quite, I mean, you're literally watching him bring his kids on private jets, on all these boats. And I'm like, you're setting this guy up. He came from being a plumber to being an MMA fighter and then becoming a billionaire now.
Yeah.
So like, even for him, I think processing that also he probably took drugs and all that kind of stuff. So I can't imagine his kids.
But he got business. Maybe he's very
yeah,
confident that he will have enough generational wealth to pass
Probably,
down.
yeah.
But that was also quite tricky. Can you imagine he takes the private plane, then his kids like take train or something like that, right?
Yeah,
But I do think that is super important because like what you said earlier, like life is like problems are a part of life, right? And if you don't have problems in your life, then what kind of life is that?
Yeah, I know.
Right. It's almost the earlier you accept that shit is part of life,
Yeah.
it is just figuring out which shit to deal with as opposed to hoping for no shit.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
you
Right.
said business class also got problem. Maybe the menu change and you don't like it so
Then
much.
those people
That
deserve
kind
a
of problem.
slap. Those people deserve a slap.
I mean, I'm sure even like private jet got problem.
Yeah,
Maybe
private
like
jet.
the
Yeah.
airport
The
runway.
menu,
No,
the
maybe,
menu.
maybe the airport runway they cannot clear you.
Yeah.
Not enough fuel. The engine
No, but
suddenly
in
break
some
down.
way, it's all relative, right? Like you can fly economy class, but to someone who's never flown economy class before because they can't afford it, they'll be like, hey, fuck you all,
Yes.
like, shut up, lah, right?
No, it
So
reminds
it's-
me of a Ricky Gervais anecdote where he said like when he first became a celebrity,
Yeah.
they would fly him on business class.
Yeah.
Then they would announce your name like Ricky Gervais, please make a way to board first. Then he was very embarrassed. Oh shit! But he said the second time, I'm like, where's that person to bring me on to business? Like you get used to it, like
You
really
get used
quickly. You
to
gotta
it,
watch
like,
it, you know.
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
really watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Conor McGregor is very confident that with
This
his
could be.
whiskey thing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
he's very confident. But I feel like, what if you get your kid used to this lifestyle, then your kid on top of that, around his friends, that he gets even used to even higher one.
Correct,
Then your
correct.
whiskey business also cannot support. Then
Yeah,
how,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because rich people tend to hang around other rich people, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what is this? You only spend 30K a month. Look at me,
Yeah.
I spend 100K a month.
No, and can you imagine as a kid, you grow up, your baseline is really so fucking
Private
high.
jet, yeah, chartered.
Yeah,
Like, what,
it's
dude,
so
like,
fucking high. It's like if you don't, it's so easy for you to just go downwards, lah.
Yeah,
Whereas if you start like a very, very low
everything
baseline,
impresses you.
yeah.
Wow, business class. Wow, first class. Wow, private jet.
Exactly, everything. Then like it's like you can have a chance to eat at the best restaurant in the world.
Yeah.
Do you just go there straight or you build up? You slowly increase, you slowly increase. I would take the slow increase one.
I agree also.
Slow increase and slowly just every time it's a new high up, high up, high up, high
Or
up.
maybe there's some kind of high net worth podcast that's like bemoaning us. Or these are
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
confirm,
yeah.
confirm.
So
Do
I'm
a
saying
reaction
this
video.
peasants-
So next time, I mean, we all have like I think we all have friends who are quite, maybe at least a friend or two who's very wealthy.
Yeah.
Then next time they invite you and your family to join him on a private jet, you will say no lah.
Oh no, I'll go lah. I'm an adult already.
No,
That's
then
a
your
fair
kids-
question.
your
No?
kids-
That's a
your
fair
kids-
question.
Oh, you mean kids?
If you have your family, hey, your whole family come with me.
No, but even then we are very clear. Okay, that's someone else's family.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
That's not how we live. You know,
Yeah.
like we can enjoy it. Life, you also want to enjoy things. So
Yeah.
you go. But then if your
yeah.
kids say, hey, when are we getting our private jet? Then you slap him lah.
No, you kneel down before a kid like, okay, boy, we're gonna have a fucking exceptional experience.
Yeah.
This is not normal, okay? Like this is not life. If you say
exactly.
that, hey, next time I will slap your face. So please understand, you prep the kid first, right?
Child Protective Services. Take note, take
Then
note.
when you're on the flight, also every 15 minutes, just one slap, just to
I
remind,
remind you, this is not real.
this is
Okay,
not
wake the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I
Wake
think
up.
you call Child Protective Services like if like my daddy whacked me, like why? Because I want to go private jet. The child protective service will come and slap the kid also, you know.
Correct.
I help you out.
Yeah, just slap.
But how about the argument that, like what you're saying, rich people hang out with rich people, and there's value in that network also lah. I mean, for example, I think there's this billionaires social club going around Singapore. They're setting up some app that's just for billionaires. What? And JJ Lin is involved and everything, right?
Yeah.
The
Really?
ARC or something
ARC
like
or
that.
something,
I mean,
yeah.
this is not brought to you, but it's literally that lah. Like
Yeah.
billionaires, kids
called
coming together.
ARC.
Yeah,
to
ARC.
create an exclusive social club
ARC,
for rich people lah. So what's the? I mean, isn't there value in letting
Of
your
course.
kid hang out with other rich people and sort of accepting that, okay, this is what I need to aspire to, the minimum to keep up with
Yeah.
this lifestyle?
Yeah.
Of course, but you must keep up with the lifestyle. If you don't reach the level of productivity or earning power needed to keep up the lifestyle, then you just cannot afford a lifestyle. So I think there's nothing wrong with hanging out with friends who have like a lot of money, but you yourself must know whether your level of spending is sustainable to yourself or not. If not, it's just keeping up with the Jonases.
Then when they say, hey, daddy, work harder, you know that 5 million deal that last year you rejected, can you please call them back? Then would you, like...
I think then seriously, I would have the conversation with the kid to say like, so this is daddy's enough point. If you want nice things, you gotta suffer more. And at this point, like daddy has worked out that I'm comfortable with 4K a month living. So this is my choice. So if you want more, you know what you gotta do lah.
You gotta
So even then, just now you said that if you figure out you're happy with 2 kids, simple life, but there aren't that many people that I've met who have that kind of concrete in their mind lah.
Yeah.
I think in Singapore there's always a case where you meet, and sometimes I might find myself getting caught in it also. Like, oh, there's so much. I cannot settle. But then also you realize, hey, shit. Yeah, like what you said, beyond a certain point, there's no difference, But how do you arrive at that point where you know what you want?
I think it's very important then, right? I think a lot of people don't know because they never thought about it, and they never really thought about it because they don't know how to even calculate what is my dream lifestyle or what is my enough point.
Yeah.
And how much that would cost. And that's difficult to... How much is a car going to cost every month?
Yeah.
If you actually go and look for article, it's got a lot of stipulations, a lot of ways that you can think about it. Is it red plate or not? Is it a good car? Is it a BMW? Is it Mercedes? Is it Toyota Corolla? That kind of thing,
Yeah.
So because of this stipulation, people don't think about it. But I think even roughly, people should think about it. You should sit down with yourself and really think, what do I need to be satisfied in life? And how much is that going to cost me? And the thing is that it's not set in stone also. When you do this to yourself, you talk to yourself and find out what you need.
Yeah.
You could, for example, in 5 years, decide, hey, actually, I would like nice cars. Actually, I've tried 5 years without it.
Then your enough point.
Shift, calculate that, I need 30K a month. Then what do I need to do to get 30K a month and aim for that? If you don't like aiming for that thing, then you might need to pull it down. What is it that you always say?
I think there are two ways to be wealthy. You either like acquire more or you desire less.
Oh, a lot more. That's a t-shirt worthy,
Then you desire less lah. Right.
Yeah. The hard part is the calculations.
Yeah.
But the calculation can calculate one. Just take some effort to go and Google the figures or actually honestly go and calculate.
Yeah.
Can do one.
So for you have your enough point.
I have. My enough point is $4,000 a month. Because I got the option to go back to Malaysia also. If shit fucks up here where I cannot afford things. So arbitrage, I move back to Malaysia. 4,000 is a lot of money.
But you now must add a bit more for inflation lah. Everything is going up in price lah.
Yes. But so $4,000, right? There's this thing called the 4% rule that we roughly... It's called the 4% rule, but it's a guideline, really.
Yeah.
And if you Google it, right, it will tell you, based on your monthly targeted expenditure, right, $4,000 for me, roughly how much you will need invested in the general stock market for you to be able to... So you just invest this lump sum, right? It will pay out 4K every month for you to spend. That means you don't ever need to work again, you can get 4K. For me, that figure, calculated based on that 4% rule guideline, would be about $1.2 million invested.
Okay.
That's it. Roughly.
How much do you guys spend a year? Do you guys roughly know?
No. No, that's why I think
I can calculate for you right now.
I think I told you all the first time I met you all. Every time I read your comics or that, I feel depressed lah. Because I'm not following.
You shouldn't, because I tell you, we also don't follow everything, man. It's like, do as your doctor says, not as he does. Right? We also not perfect people. Trust me.
Yeah.
I got buy stupid shit, man. Then I'm like, I want to fuck I buy this.
I think one problem that has happened in recent years to make people feel very like insecure
Pressurized,
about it's social media.
Social media, yeah.
Okay, one is social media because like people only put their best selves on social media. When I am on social media, I'm like my richest, fittest version of myself.
But not through you, you're an avatar of ideal Ruiming.
Then people see, oh my god, it's rich Ruiming. I gotta do better. I gotta do better. Even though, like, let's say rich Ruiming who goes on a yacht trip, right? Only does it once a year.
Yeah.
But because I only post about that, people think rich Ruiming.
Got some friends they go on holiday.
Do it often,
They go on holiday like once or twice a year, right? They will publish photos from the holiday every month, no? I'm like, what the fuck? You got content calendar for your trip, one?
And these are not like content creators or just
regular people.
Just regular people.
Yeah. So they go on 2 holidays. They will post photos from their holiday throughout the year. So it looks like they're going on holiday all the time. But they're not.
Yeah, and then if you post, and then think about it, like if you would not post like you sitting down drinking a taping, right? Like a humble life.
I would.
No one posts about that.
Right. You know who will post about that? Rich people.
Rich people will post about that.
That's how they flex,
Yeah.
Like we have I have some rich friends like ridiculous one, like inherited wealth one. They flex by posting having kopi with Amma this weekend.
Look at me taking the bus, humble life.
It's not bad also. It's not bad, but like I felt like it's so inverse, right? That poor people try to flex being rich and rich people try to flex being poor.
Yeah.
Very funny.
So I think social media is one thing that prevents people from having a simple life because it inflates their desires. Right? That's definitely one. The other one I feel like is globalization.
Whoa.
Yeah, because nowadays there are a lot of like rich expats, billionaires coming to Singapore.
Correct,
And when they do that, they pull up like the overall what is average life all the way up. Let's say like a billionaire from China comes to Singapore.
Yeah.
Then he bids for COE. He buys a condo.
Yeah.
He's gonna push all the price up, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So I guess people will see like, oh my god, nowadays condos so expensive, I cannot afford.
Yeah.
Where actually you can get by like quite happily without competing with the billionaires for that level of expensive things. Right?
Yeah, but what you said is true. The average gets pulled up.
Yeah.
And I think the average...
But the salaries don't get pulled up. The
That's why we
median
use
salary.
salary.
The median, right?
Median is the one you use. You don't
Yeah,
use
median.
average because average really pulls it high.
Yeah, average
median
is
is the
fucked one.
middle person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say like 100 billionaires come to Singapore. They all bid for COE. Then what's going to happen is like the ordinary Singaporean probably can't afford
A car.
a car.
Yeah.
That is the reality of it.
And that's literally what's happened the last 2 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Indonesians coming here, setting up family offices and literally buying over.
And not just Indonesians. Now,
I have a lot of. They're pretty well to do. They work in finance in Hong Kong. Right? Then they wanted to move back because of all this COVID nonsense. They can't find proper house. I mean, not say proper. They can't find affordable housing for themselves, you know, and their family. Because they're used to a certain lifestyle in Hong Kong already.
Yes.
In Singapore, they can't. They're like renting from their friend's mother-in-law, that kind of thing.
Oh.
And it's so scary because it's like, wow, they never expected they can't come home to build a home in Singapore already. Yeah.
So I think just understanding this like market distortion will help you make more informed decisions. So I feel like if you understand like, okay, there are billionaires coming to Singapore, there are very rich expats coming here, and they are all buying all these private condos.
Yeah.
So most likely it'll be the prudent thing for me to buy a HDB, especially if I cannot afford a private condo. I understand it stings that you can no longer afford a private condo as you did in the past.
Yeah.
But I think it's also very hard to prevent the very rich people from coming into Singapore also.
Yeah.
Let's say you were very rich. Will you move to, let's say, Philippines? You will not, will you? Or you will not, right? You choose. More likely you choose Singapore.
Yeah. Singapore is attractive.
Yeah.
It is
So
attractive.
in some ways, Singapore is doing things right because millionaires and billionaires do want to come here.
Yeah.
But the side effect is that it causes a lot of inequality, which makes people very unhappy.
Yeah.
And I feel like understanding this macro perspective helps temper a bit of the unhappiness.
So do you make it a point to, I don't know, don't go on social media or don't follow the people who are the flexers and all that, or just you can compartmentalize one? Because that's the tricky part, right? Like I myself have found in the past when maybe things not going well for us, I see Insta stories and I find my mood just going down.
Yes.
And I withdraw from it, but then
now you're
in.
planning for your wedding as well. And you're seeing all the prices all going up.
Yeah,
through
the
the
fucking
roof.
wedding prices, like, fuck, man.
It's going up, is it?
As in, everything
It
is
is.
expensive, lah. Like, you start off with one estimate and everything just keeps going up. So yeah, and then now everything...
Maybe demand surging because there's a backlog of people that wanted to get married over COVID. So
I don't
now
know
they're
whether
all
it's
coming.
demand. I think it's just the reality that there are all
It's
these
like that
components.
one,
It's like that one. And then you also then have to think about, okay, a wedding, bringing family together who haven't seen each other for 2-3 years is nice. But so there's a lot of things about that. And then you go on social media once in a while, you see, oh shit, like, especially once you get older, you know, your friends who are maybe not running their own businesses in corporate jobs, they go, like, I will admit sometimes when I meet my peers, I feel like, oh shit, am I falling behind? Am I this? So how do you all manage that? Or have you all become very good at being almost very... How you say, you can compartmentalize, you can separate emotion from...
Hang out with content creators. Don't hang out with anyone else outside.
I think it goes back to having very strong values or a strong idea of who you are. So I keep in mind, like, okay, I don't need to compare with others. I'm me as long as I'm happy. That is fine.
But have you always been like that since young also?
Not really. I think in my 20s, I was quite immature and I always compare, hey, how come other kids have this? How come other kids have this? But after I earn my own money, then I realized, actually, to spend money, some pain is involved in that.
Yeah.
And when I see people spending money, I'm like, oh man, that's painful. I probably might not want to do that. So by using that as a mechanism, it helps me control like my spending as well.
Oh, in some way you kind of program your mind.
Because we what's that saying? We pay for we get money by paying with hours of our life.
Correct. Yeah.
So let's say you go on a big wedding. Maybe that is 6 months of your salary.
Yeah.
6 months of you working 9 to 9 every day.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want that? So it really helps me spend reasonably lah. Especially if I feel like this is like a 3-month thing. It's too much. Or let's say if it's something is just basically 1 month of my salary.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
What if it's
okay
inherited
spending it.
money then?
What do you mean?
Because it's almost like you're saying like, for every force, there's an equal opposite reaction. So like somebody showing off a trip to Europe,
Yeah.
we don't see, they will not post, 8 hour working at the office today or like 12 hours.
Yeah.
That won't be on the Insta feed.
Yeah.
Right? So you are saying that, keep in mind that if I want this, I'll need this.
Yeah.
But would that then affect you differently if you knew that this person came from a rich family and you knew for a fact that this trip was just sponsored by the parents?
Not really, because we come from different parents.
And you can't change that
Yeah,
situation.
and I mean,
right?
my dad is my dad. I
Yeah.
respect his decision to do whatever he wants with my money.
Yeah.
And
His
then-
money.
Yeah, then I respect. Yeah, it's his money.
Careful with that.
Yeah.
Freudian slip.
So-
You say what?
So I also respect my friends' parents to give their money to their kid to spend however.
That's
how they
fair.
want.
That's fair. Yeah.
No, I mean, I have a couple of these rich friends on Instagram. I find it a little bit peculiar, especially when it comes from generational wealth. And then they're showing the holidays in Maldives and all this. I'm like, a bit gauche. A bit.
I think you have to be careful with that sometimes because I have elicited things like that before, and then I caught myself. Like I'll see my friends, for example, having a very nice house, and the parents rich. Then I will catch myself. Hey, why do you think that? How
Why
do
are you
you
judging
know?
them, right?
You
Yeah.
can see the account. Is it? You knew that this is from the bank account of the parents.
Yeah.
It probably is. It could be, but I also don't know.
Yeah.
So no point.
So don't
I can't
discount
get
it,
it.
yeah.
Also, I can't magically just have rich parents.
Correct.
And also, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, like generational wealth also comes from suffering that their previous
generation
generation
suffered,
endured. Some great sacrifice or some great stroke of genius that they thought about predicting the market, you know? So if one of the rewards for doing that is that my future generations get to afford something nice, I think that's fair. You know, if I work hard for something, I got a lot of access.
I mean, a lot
well,
of crimes also probably took place for that kind of money too.
Possibly. But unless I know also, if
Yeah,
it's Joe Low's
yeah.
kids, I'll be like, hey, you fucker. But if I don't know, I can't say, right? That's just jealousy already, right? Because now it's luck also, right? Luck you cannot control.
Yeah.
Especially in Malaysia, some more.
Yeah, I know.
Jolo.
Yeah.
So what did your thought processes evolve to this state over many years, or like just now I asked you from young, and for you guys, I mean, you guys seem like very mature in your thinking, especially when it comes to finances.
If you go out office, the kind of shit we say is horrible.
But I
it?
guess that's part of the. I mean, everyone has horrible thoughts, lah, right? But when
They're
you
not
guys
horrible,
have
like
to,
cringe jokes, things like that.
oh, cringe jokes, yeah, wait
We
till
just
you
appeal
hang out
to
more with
joke,
us,
That's fine. Yeah,
but I mean, like you guys can still distill like your thought processes. Is it because ultimately you work in the business of personal finance, or is it something that you spend a lot of time thinking about on your own also, like the philosophies that you guys have spoken about?
I think our friendship is sort of like that, and that's why I treasure my friendship with Ruiming a lot. Because with him, right, I can talk about very like academic things very quickly. We can be cycling and talking about what we want for lunch, right? Then the next sentence is like, hey, what do you think about the fact that Netherlands inequality rating is so high, but then actually their standard of living is quite high? We can just go straight into it. And it's fun for us.
Yeah.
And I think actually personal finance and finance or like investing, that kind of thing, right, does kind of force you to think macro. Because if I want to make good plays on investment, I have to understand the market. I have to understand governments. I have to understand how economy and money works. And that's very big picture stuff. And having that kind of perspective oftentimes allows you to be big picture. And big picture means that when things happen, if somebody cut my queue, for example, I'm big picture enough to not pick a fight with somebody because I know if I fight, I might die. I might get into a lawsuit, and then down the line, there's trouble for me.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'm less quick to rouse as a result of my exposure to macro thinking. Even on a governmental level, it helps me to think when somebody cut my queue, you'll run through then, okay.
You had the Carl Sagan moment, when you see the blue dot.
The pale blue dot,
pale
right?
blue dot,
For every war there's every drop of blood spilled
everything
on this tiny
nothing else
that
matters.
thing it's
Cosmic
funny you mentioned.
perspective,
Yeah. So you were saying like we can mention something. I think that is a very transformative thing. It really shows you like it's really very insignificant.
Yeah.
All this money also is nothing. So that helps, but I think definitely we get better as we do it. Like what Ruiming talked about, like when we put out a piece of media, sometimes it's your story that you're telling about your father, for example. And then somebody go and write in the comments something nasty. It gets to you. But then like it also, as you deal with it and move on, you get better at processing these things and you understand the nature of the internet. So I think we got better at it. Yeah.
And also by understanding like a macro point of view, it forces you to shift from like, oh my god, why the world do this to me?
Yeah.
To realize like, oh, okay, this thing happened, which caused this thing, and now I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
Mm.
If I
Because-
want to change it, here's what I might need to
Yeah,
do.
because if it's like me, then you feel like, oh my god, the whole fucking world is attacking me.
Yeah.
And that's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
But understanding like the macro situation, then you understand, oh, actually, it's like that.
Yeah.
And here's what I can do to cope with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I think when it comes to inequality, especially, like I talk about like globalization, right? You know, like I'm feeling the effects of rich people coming here, right? And my now my income is definitely relatively less than what it used to be. So I think it's easy to feel like, wow, I'm angry about it.
Yeah.
If you don't understand like that there are a lot of rich people coming here. But if you understood that, you think yourself, okay, why do these people earn more money than me? What skills do they have? Then I can like draw like a roadmap on how I can overcome my current problem.
Got it.
Because if I do not know anything at all, I'll feel very helpless. I just feel like, oh shit.
Yeah, it stops at emotion.
Yeah.
If you have big picture, it helps you to draw a line from emotion to possibly action.
Yep.
Yeah. And sometimes money helps with that because, of course, you can understand, right? If it's somebody who has a very difficult family situation, need to pay for medical fee, and barely got enough money to make it through the month. How the fuck you want me to think about my next 10 years? I'm worried about next week, bro.
Yeah.
My rent is coming. I got not enough. Yeah. So, of course, we also need to, I feel, when you get rich, help to uplift those below you because there are a lot of people who are left behind, not because they are not smart or whatever.
Not hardworking.
Or hardworking. It's because of the debilitating cycle of poverty that they're locked in.
Yeah.
So to be able to help these people out, they would otherwise be really, really progressive and really cool, productive, great long-term thinkers that are just debilitated because they would just happen to be born in that cycle of poverty.
So I'm assuming that powers a lot of your drive behind the Woke Salaryman also. In terms of in some way,
Some people would
educating
disagree.
people.
Some people will say we are too capitalistic or money-minded and that it's just that there are infinite amount of ways to draw the line where you should start giving back and how much you should give back. And it's an argument that I feel has no correct answers.
So what is the argument? What do people like say?
So some people might say that rich people, if you get rich past a certain point, you are now obligated, for example, to give back all you have. Then, for example, so one sort of consideration is, which one is more virtuous? A poor old woman who gives away 100% of her small $200 savings wealth, or a hyper-rich billionaire that gives away 1% of his $1 billion that actually results in $1 million donation.
Yeah.
Which one is more virtuous? Is it the impact of several, like $10 million being donated, or the virtue of one woman giving 100%? I don't know the answer also.
So
I
you
don't know
say,
the answer.
I mean, these things are, they're not so black and white lah.
The devil's in the details, yeah.
I think the very moralistic answer is to say the old woman, because she gave 100%.
Yeah.
But if you boil down to the facts, what can is it 20 cents?
$200.
Yeah, what can $200 do to uplift someone from poverty?
Yeah.
Not much. It means a
Not
lot
much.
to the old woman,
Yeah.
and we should respect that.
Yeah.
But 1 million is going to do a lot more.
Agree.
Yeah, and I feel like
On both counts, I agree.
and nowadays
Yeah.
on social media, a lot of people tend to focus on you give 100% of, like they tend
I
to.
think both sides have it.
I
both
feel
sides.
like from what I
Depending
see,
where you go,
They tend to lionize like either one.
Yeah.
Where reality is like in the middle lah.
Yeah, like there's that saying, and I don't quite like it because it starts with the word intelligence. Like, intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing points of view at the same time. But I quite like the latter part where it's about the ability to be comfortable with not having an answer to it.
Yeah.
To go, I see your point,
I see your point, yeah.
I don't know what it is, and I'm standing right here, and I'll see what happens. There's something useful with that way of looking at the world and being comfortable with not knowing the answer.
I think it's useful to approach like arguments not like I'm right or like okay, there's this particular argument.
Yeah.
There's also that particular argument.
Yeah.
And you understand like a multifaceted approach. I feel like that is a better way to go around it than the typical Singaporean answer, which is flip to the back assessment book. Like, right or wrong.
To the back of the answer.
So, I mean, we hear all this, right? We've been skirting around what are your political views, the question. Okay, but we don't have to answer that. But we've been hearing quite a little bit.
Sure.
But I'm not so interested in some kind of academic answer, but I'm more like Singapore Inc. how happy are you all about the way things are now? I mean, you're Malaysian, but
I'm
you're living
Malaysian,
here and
okay?
making
Food
a
is
living.
called Malaysian, I'm a PR here.
yeah, PR.
I think Singapore is fucking awesome.
Oh,
I
really?
used to be very cynical. I used to be super anti-Singapore in poly because it was all about... So the biggest thing that got me about Singapore,
Yeah.
that I wouldn't say like I like now also actually, is the press freedom thing. Right?
okay.
Yeah.
Always very consistently, objectively ranked very low one.
Yeah.
But I understand why that is. And I understand what that affords Singapore now.
Yeah.
I used to also be very cynical about two more things. One is the Malayan, because the Malayan is a created thing,
Correct. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I used to be extremely cynical about that.
Okay.
Because fake one, marketing make one. But now I look at it like, dude, like Singapore is how old only? Got what
Yeah.
history to do?
Yeah.
So you don't have legacy, you don't have 5,000 years of history.
So whenever
you
you-
made it. You just make one through marketing. Isn't that also quite cool?
So whenever you see the photos of people with the mouth near the Fullerton Malayan,
I don't like that.
First I was like,
you're
fuck you.
It's not like I approve
you
it,
go and
but I
photo
get it.
bomb and all.
I get it.
I get it. It's not
You
like I
get it,
approve it.
okay.
The good morning
Yeah.
power, all these symbols.
But when was it? When did this switch flip from?
When I started working, I think.
Was that working?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought when you got your PR, then you're like,
No.
be the citizen.
Look, I will tell you right now also, my PR is a very mercenarial move. And the reason why I'm not a citizen is because I want the ability to
go
be able
back.
to buy land back in Malaysia if I ever want to at a local price. That's it. It's a mercenarial consideration. But that doesn't mean I don't like Singapore. I love Singapore. And I love Singapore, I feel truly, not just for its symbols or the fact that if I put in OA or SA, I get 4-5%. I love Singapore because I like passive aggressiveness. I think it's hilarious that if I bought the bus and there's some transgression going on, right, y'all will film it first instead of talk to people about it. I find that actually that's the most striking difference culturally between Singaporeans and Malaysians.
Really?
Because for me, very clear, I'm like, hey, can y'all not block the bus, go back? I'll just say it. And
I thought
they'll-
Malaysia also, the filming thing is a big thing, no?
I think
But they'll
everywhere,
fight first,
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
but they will say
Singapore-
much more quicker than Singaporeans
Oh,
would,
yeah,
I
yeah,
find.
yeah.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay.
so you see that thing also extends to me to the Changi Jewel, for example, which is a monument that is man-made
yeah.
with great effort, and you're wrestling environmental factors. You go, it's like fucking Jurassic Park, right? Got all
Yeah,
that thing,
yeah,
got-
yeah. Correct,
And this amazing thing with glass, right, with the thing coming
Yeah.
down. It is very easy to be cynical. I'm not a huge fan of it, also aesthetically speaking. I think it's a bit gaudy. But what you did essentially is that, look, we got no natural attraction here. Let's make one.
Yeah.
We use our money advantage that we have to make one because as Singapore, you don't have many cards, you know?
Yeah.
And then in contrast, I go to Malaysia, I see the standard of living there. I see the people that do the same jobs that we do here earn 1/5 of the salary that we earn just because they're in Malaysia. Which is sort of okay if the prices are the same. But you know, if they buy camera equipment, it's the same price in Malaysia, you know. But they earn 1/5 the price we earn there. So comparing these very objective factors, I'm overall quite a big fan of how the Singapore government runs the country. And I'm not even afraid to say it. Do you think that's cancelable?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay, right.
think
It's not
yeah,
like I
I
agree
think
with
it's
everything
fine.
the Singapore government
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Got problem also.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about the
The egg freezing. For women. Yeah, it's like
or you know, like even small
socially,
things like
yeah.
the guy that would knock on the house. Do you all see that case, the rice media one?
No, which one?
he's just knocking like
There's a neighbor, there's a neighbor that will keep doing that every day,
Yeah.
and they try to get the town council and the police to do, and they couldn't do anything for like
11 years.
11 years. So of course got things,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
know,
things.
whenever I cross and go back, I'm like, wow, damn. Like a lot of things the potholes on the road, like every level,
Yeah.
government level, street level, I can see differences. And to me, it's a very clear question.
I see. I mean, even for me, the last 2 years, you know, literally during COVID, staying here and then having a kid, all that, it made me question a lot about, a lot of people talk about moving overseas, a better life.
Yeah.
Then
Quite
I'm
a sexy
thinking,
notion,
really,
right?
really, is it really that much better? Literally, we were talking to someone today who went to Italy for holiday and was like, he got COVID there, and it was like a fucking hell. Yeah, he was like so scared of getting quarantined and everything. Then in Singapore, I'm like, hey, you COVID here, you just go and see a doctor.
It depends who you are also, right? Like, because some
yeah,
people
yeah.
would thrive better overseas, you know?
Correct. Some people enjoy that kind of like challenge, like you said, you know.
So for us creatives or people in the arts industry, I do consider myself an artist. It wasn't very helpful in that regard. I feel like
correct. That's true.
the cultural atmosphere here is not very ripe for me to be an artist. I did really try to be an artist for a long time, you know. I wanted to make independent animated films about Singapore. I had a master's degree that I wrote, right? at NTU, and my thesis statement was expressing Singapore national identity through animation.
Yeah.
That was what I wanted to do. But it's just, how lah? Because nobody will fund me. I don't have enough freedom to fund myself. I can't find a company that will fund me to do it and giving me enough freedom to express myself the way I want to express. I asked Singapore government for money to probably censor the thing also. So I can't do lah. Like that Yeah. How about you?
I think I'm overall approving of what Singapore has done so far.
Shit, we come.
Yeah, I think more. No, but I got this disclaimer. I started off like as an adult, super left wing.
Same. Yeah.
Super left wing, super anti-government.
Yeah.
Then I went to see the world a bit more.
Yeah.
And no doubt, like there were a lot of countries not so developed as Singapore, or life was not as comfortable. I saw those also. I also saw places where life was pretty good or even comparable to Singapore. But studying history and like macro perspective, you learn how come these countries got disadvantages. Is it because of oil? Right? Is it because of history? Maybe they won a certain war back in the day.
Colonization.
Yeah, maybe because of there was a certain right skin color. Right? Then they could dominate other people, use resources for 200 years, then milk like culture imperialism to become rich. So taking all this into account, I think Singapore has done pretty well for itself. Even if I disagree with like a lot of the things that they do, over time I realized like, oh, okay, this is why they did it. And I developed like an understanding on why they do certain things and maybe even acceptance in
I think
in
that's
some
very
ways.
fair. Like even when you disagree, you're like, but I understand why you're doing that.
Yeah.
Like Malaysia one, like what the like something so random one what they do. Like what the hell are you talking about? Huh? Like that was okay nah.
I think it's important for Singaporeans to realize like when they go to other countries, right? It's important to know that, let's say free healthcare in Norway, it comes at a price.
It comes at a price.
It means people get taxed 40%. If that is the social contract you accept, then maybe Norway is the place for you. Singapore is the place that you tax you 17%. Then you pay for healthcare with MediSave, and then they take some of your income every month to go towards that. So I think it's about what is the system you thrive best in. Many people talk about going overseas and going to have a better life, but often these people, not often lah, sometimes these people need to consider like what is their value that they will provide the other country. You want to move to Australia, but are you on the skilled immigration
Australia
list?
want you or not?
Yeah, does Australia even want you? Need to consider that.
Do you have kangaroo wrangling experience?
No, I think I mean that's funny, but also they are looking for like plumbers, tradesmen,
medical field,
medical tech,
nurses.
Nurses, yeah.
So I acknowledge like in some countries it might be just better to better to pursue certain professions compared to Singapore. And it's important to acknowledge that. But at the end of the day, I think Singapore, with what it has, with its very limited resources, which also based on the fact that it's in Southeast Asia, one of the poorest regions in the world, it has done pretty well for itself. And I feel anyone who doesn't acknowledge that from the very beginning, I'll take the opinion less seriously.
I feel like it's a card game. And Singapore started out with very bad cards or very few cards, but has played very well. Whether it's you consider Singapore a winning player or not, that one debatable.
They're still in the game, right? They're still in the game.
For the cards that it got, the hand that it got, wow, pretty impressive play.
So this is like Singapore is like maybe a HDB kid that became a landed property kid over the past 50 years.
Right.
And not a lot of countries have done that. Some landed property people have actually fallen down the line. Right.
Yeah.
And it's important to acknowledge that. Yeah, even though there are a lot of things in Singapore I don't really like as well.
I mean, remember we were talking about like you two as the founders of Woke Salaryman, there's this certain ethical thing that you all have to follow, right? And then how that carries on to everyone else. That's what I worry about for Singapore, in the sense that the last 50 years has required a generation of people who realize that, we need to play at this level and keep these ethics and make these sacrifices. But will the next generation understand that aspect and then carry on with those things? And I mean, we are seeing a lot of polarization of people, and some people just, I just don't like the government, support opposition, all this.
But then what's your take on Singapore Inc?
A lot of changes have happened in my life in the last few years because of having a kid and all that. And then,
but how is your kid?
2 years old. Yeah.
Oh wow!
So
Congrats.
really, just watching, so the COVID baby, COVID baby, and then everything that happened during COVID, it really gave you a lot of perspective about what was happening. And then I talked to, I talked to people who were having kids overseas at the same time also.
Yeah.
They were fucking like trying to pack because they were like, oh, am I going to get separated from my kid if I get COVID? They were fucking trying to get out of like Hong Kong.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
Packing
China,
their bags, carrying 2-month-old. I have to breastfeed on the budget flight because I couldn't
like
get
war, like that, you know.
Yeah, it was like fucking running away from war. I was like, I mean, I had to stay at home doing CB in Singapore, but I still went on my walks around the park every day, that kind of thing.
Right.
And my wife, we still went to hospital for appointments, all these things. So I was like, really, when shit hits the fan, I don't think there was anywhere else that I would have felt safer, you know. And so that kind of puts it in perspective. Because I think when I was younger also, I was like, fuck this capitalistic society and all that shit.
I can relate to that too.
Yeah. So how about you?
Yeah. I think same. I also started off with that, fuck the rich.
Why everybody like
yeah, all of us started like that.
Because you all never earn your money yet. So when you use other people's money, it's easy to have these like notions that other people should give you money. But when you start earning money, you're like, I need to protect my own interests as well. And I feel like that will push you towards capitalism.
Right. I mean, I still do have certain opinions about the people who abuse the power or wealth that they have. That one will never go away.
Yep.
But then I think my thoughts on Singapore has evolved to the point that, I think they have gotten a lot of things right. But also to acknowledge that they get a lot of things wrong. So one thing that I fucking hate is when we hear messages, we already provide you with this, that's why we can't do this. And I think there's always room to get better, And I think when we don't consider that, Singapore can get better, it's pretty okay already. But that doesn't mean that we stop there. And that doesn't mean we allow other shit things to happen. And I think over time, I love Singapore. There are many issues with it, but then there are many things that I feel strongly about. But there's a lot of things that I would say, it provides something that you can't get anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
You have to give up things, yes, but I think what you said, there's never going to be a perfect country, right? You go to another country where, there's a lot of freedom. Even as a creative person, you go to a country where there's more creative freedom.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that might not go your way, And also, if I haven't lived in another country, I don't think I'm in a position to say it is going to be better there.
Yeah.
So I think whenever I hear people say they can't take Singapore anymore, that might be real, but maybe go spend time in another country, try it out and make a comparison then.
Yes. Your stand will be so much stronger if you have had the evidence of going overseas.
Yeah.
And also not just one-sided where you can whack, but also you have to give due credit when it's due. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And also not just experience like other country as a tourist.
As a tourist.
Yeah, exactly.
You
live there.
It's very different, just taking pictures of the Eiffel Tower and having to work in Paris.
Yeah.
Two separate things.
And
two separate universes.
And I think if you go abroad and you love it there, then great for you.
Great
but
for
I
you,
think, the notion that, it's always better there. But also, I wouldn't say that I agree with everything about the PAP and all that. I think that's one thing that, you said, that it's important to be able to hold two ideas.
Yes, opposing
ideas.
Right
now, unfortunately, if someone listens to this conversation, they're like, fucking all PAP.
Brought to you by the People's Association.
Then we're like, no, man, there are many things that I can't stand about their policies, the way certain ministers act and all, right? But that doesn't mean that they do certain things right. Yeah. So I think the it's now you either have to be one extreme or the other. You can't appreciate things from both sides. Yeah.
I think two things. I think one is that Singapore government, not the PAP.
Yeah.
I think they do a lot of things on their own merit that the PAP shouldn't be allowed to take full credit for. Because government is government. And PAP, they also do certain things.
Right.
But I think one thing I would say on like both PAP and the government is that comms can be so much better.
Yes.
Communications can be so much better. Sometimes it just lacks empathy or like compassion.
You're trying to say we should do those comms.
Not really, because some of them are political messages that we will not do.
Yeah, we can't do, right?
Yeah, we can't do. But I think sometimes they just like be like show face a little bit more,
It's like you can always say something, but how you say it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I think we all agree.
There's no need to say, you come from a 3-room flat, come from Hamburg. We don't need all that. We just need to know that, okay, these things have been carefully listened to and not like a templated reply sometimes. And
but it's a good template. I just think like they used it too much where, hey, got template.
It was too convenient already, right?
Yeah, they do the video compilation. It's like, wait a minute. That's the same thing.
What is the one unique thing you can say about you? Oh, I come from humble background.
I grew up with chickens running around me. I'm like, hey, fuck you lah. Okay, now also near my house got chickens, right? Everybody got rooster.
The condo downstairs got chicken.
So I feel like if they can get it right, then they'll be a lot more effective in selling even policies that unpopular, but might be good for Singapore long term. I think important thing is to be able to make unpopular decisions that
are good for Singapore.
Not pander to populism, which I feel
sometimes to pander a bit.
It's very possible. Right now.
Yeah,
it's very true.
Wow, didn't know you want to talk politics, man.
No, because we were skirting around it so much already, talking about it.
I don't think we skirted. I would have been able to talk about it if you asked
wanted to talk about it.
When we talk to Sudhir, we're like, so when was your political awakening?
Yeah, right.
And then he's like, it was in 2000.
But Sudhir is like, they live and breathe personal finance. Sudhir lives and breathes politics.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very interesting hearing that perspective.
Yeah.
Because I think you're operating in a space where, there are a lot of people who, talk big game and, promise a lot of things but actually they're out there to ruin you all. So, but you are operating with like a certain moral and ethical like compass that
perhaps to our detriment.
Yes, perhaps to our detriment.
$5 million detriment.
I guess we'll find out.
Let's find out.
To future Ruiming. Please don't regret this moment.
To future Ruiming. Yeah.
But wow, that was quite an intense discussion.
Yeah, very fun.
Nice to I guess we covered a lot of things we wanted to talk about, including politics. So that's great. And I mean, I'm curious how people are going to react to this. Because we shared a lot about things that people do get sensitive about, like personal finance and politics.
I do have one just a kind of lame question, but related to what we're discussing. What is your most expensive hobby? That you do?
For me, it's a close tie between photography and cycling. So my cycling one, my damage is I think my bike total, including all the addition thing I put on it, maybe $4,000.
You're the spandex the kind of cyclist, the road cyclist.
No, I don't do spandex.
Oh, you don't do
I do spandex.
He does spandex.
Okay.
So Terence has a irrational distaste for anything spandex. If this phone was in spandex, right? If this phone was in spandex, he would hate it also.
His phone was in spandex.
No, I mean we can have a educated discussion on cyclists versus cars if this is what it's about.
a bit like the road cyclists who don't observe traffic rules.
I understand.
That one I think universal.
Everybody.
Yeah, fair. Because even as a cyclist, road cyclists, I do tell off cyclists who beat the red light, but sometimes they think they're above the law.
You have to respect the road.
Then even beyond the road, even in the PCNs, sometimes they scream at old ladies who are cycling slower or on the wrong or left or right side.
Up,
so I think
screw those guys.
So I think that is fair also. Actually, what
screaming at old ladies is fair.
No, like being angry at people who scream. Because I also don't like. So recently I've been doing a bike course that I teach.
Oh, really?
On how to be a good commuter.
Ethics.
Etiquette.
What did you say?
So I just put on my IG story. Then 30 plus people sign up. So
some
now
car park somewhere. Then he just
I now go to different neighborhoods in Singapore.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
He's the woke cyclist.
Yeah.
The woke cyclist.
So I'll teach them something like, okay, if you got a pedestrian, please don't ring because it's fucking annoying.
It's damn annoying.
You ring once or twice, the person don't overtake. Fine, just let the person go in front of you. Sooner or later, there will be a place where you can overtake safely. And if you are not confident cycling slowly, then maybe you should not be cycling on the pavement with other people.
Wow.
I mean, okay, but overall, I do feel like there's a lot of very strong car culture in Singapore. I think drivers think they're entitled to the roads simply because they pay a lot of money.
Yes.
But actually, the roads is actually maintained by everyone, including cyclists.
Yeah.
Because road tax actually is not road tax. It actually pays for emissions.
Okay.
So what you should treat a cyclist as is like a slow motorcycle. Provided they follow the rules. I mean, they don't follow rules, then they're assholes.
Okay. So have you all ever thought about the woke brand? You have woke salaryman, woke cyclist, woke video gamer, woke.
But how to monetize, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Anyone can go viral, I think, if you try hard enough, but that hard part.
Also, it has occurred like the woke brand.
But we haven't we were still asking about
so now I'm you were the one who digressed about the spandex.
It's okay. Let's come back to it. So cycling $4,000, I think is my max purchase, which I think is quite a bit, but also not very expensive because there are people that buy like 15K bikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then
yeah.
another one is photography. Photography, I think like the most expensive lens I have is $900.
But it's also related to your work that you do.
Sort of lah,
Yeah.
lah. But that's about it. Everything else,
Okay.
I quite budget one. Like my computer not very expensive. The games I play, I also buy on discount.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you, Ruiming?
So I have. So my most expensive hobby is cycling. I do both road and mountain. So
okay.
mountain biking
He has
is
several bikes, yeah.
Okay.
The road cycling is cycle on the road one.
That's a bad description of mountains. Eh?
It is. It's basically doing this.
That is the drilling man, I thought. You know?
Okay.
It's just cycling with suspension because you're going up and down, right?
I think all the bikes together around 10K.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I have like 4 bikes because I want to get my girlfriend to ride also. So I need to buy a bike for her so we can ride together.
It sounds like excuses to me.
Yeah, maybe. But I also use the bike to do like bike touring. So cycle in other countries, do bike camping. So I would say the most expensive purchase is cycling and also camping. Using bicycles to camp, which is called bike packing.
Bye. Oh.
So he saved a lot on travel also.
Oh.
That's why
Yeah,
he
so
go and
you
travel.
stay-
You stay in the.
Because he's so hardcore, he camp.
I'll
Camps.
camp.
He just
Oh.
pay about the flight and that's about it.
Does your
Yeah.
girlfriend camp with you also?
Sometimes, yeah.
But
okay. In that way, like the bike has to be of a certain quality. So let's say you're in Mongolia, you don't want
don't want that
Correct,
shit to
correct,
spoil.
yeah.
your bike to fail you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe in spending like spending where it matters lah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I joined him on it sometimes. I went with him to Batam once. I almost died.
Then you all stay in a
And-
tent.
Yeah, in the tent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Then we're gonna go Australia.
2 weeks
end of
from
the
now.
month. Yeah, 2 weeks.
But
from
Australia
now.
should be, the infrastructure should be there lah. It's a bit like, I
Oh,
mean,
no
like
way.
France, I also did that kind of cycling and
Oh,
stayed
you
in
did?
tent thing. And it was damn fun as a student and all that. I don't think I'll ever be able to convince my wife to do anything like that.
Slowly lah.
Yeah,
Slowly
But we've
cycle,
done
lah.
cycling, then stay in a hotel lah. And
Oh,
like
yeah, that's
France
quite cool.
is
That's quite cool.
France is the infrastructure is all there. The roads is perfect for cycling
Yeah.
and all that.
so you're going on a cycling trip to Australia? Oh shit!
Yeah.
Wow.
That is
Ten-
cool.
So there's this new discipline in cycling called gravel. It's in between road cycling, the spandex people,
Yeah.
and mountain biking. So you ride like your bike on unsurfaced roads.
Surface roads, okay.
So it's safer because there are less cars at high speed.
Oh,
Got it.
unsurfaced road. That means there's no tarmac.
Yeah,
It's
no
just-
tarmac. So you just do like
no cars.
gravel road for hundreds of kilometers.
Oh, but the tires are more like
Thicker,
something in
like,
between.
thicker.
Something in
Yeah.
between.
It's more fun. It's not about racing. It's all like
Taking in the
exploring,
sides, yeah.
taking the
So is that
sides.
what you're doing in Australia?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. in
Oh
Australia.
shit! Wow.
I'm very scared, but also like I just take his D on it.
Actually,
Wow.
on a bike, you can cover like really massive distances.
Yeah, you can,
so I'm
yeah.
doing a 400-kilometer ride tomorrow.
Oh,
How
Around
tall is
Singapore
it?
lah.
In Malaysia.
Oh, Malaysia, okay.
Yeah, so I think you'll be surprised on what your body can do. And
it's a road bike lah.
yeah, road bike. And what you're capable of lah. So I always felt like cycling is a
Over how many days?
1 day.
Oh, 1 day.
Yeah, so 1 day 400 kilometer.
Wow.
Non-stop.
I think we will stop when we're tired.
Oh.
But it's
But it means you'll be going very fast lah. It's
maybe
like
30 kilometers per hour or something.
okay.
Yeah,
Wow,
but it's a
that's
good way to
fast.
like keep fit, explore the world. So yeah, I feel like
I did
10K
a
justified.
cycle up to Malaysia. I think it was about 400. It was 2 days, and holy
Wow.
shit, man! Because we
That's
took
hardcore,
the
man.
north-south highway, so the hills, right? It's like you go down one hill, then you come up
Yeah,
another. Okay, then
grinding
you
your-
fucking
yeah.
see another hill. Wow, like I think I teared up on certain slopes also.
You
Yeah,
teared up.
yeah, because like if you're halfway, you can't stop lah. So you just have to keep going.
You stop,
then-
you gotta get out the bike. Already.
Yeah.
Push,
and once
'cause
you
can't
get off
start
the bike,
again.
it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's over already. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
over.
I love the idea of this kind of like endurance biking kind of thing. I even like last time there's this magazine called The Far Right or something where they they take very nice photos of people on these kind of trips.
Right.
Yeah. And it looks fucking awesome. But then I read the kind of distances they come up like, that's not me.
So
that's
again, you
not
see,
me.
we're seeing the best shit.
Yeah,
you don't
the
see
best
the
shit.
grinding
Correct,
uphill and all that stuff, right?
You don't see the groin, the
solid
abrasions,
testicles.
on the groin.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's also
ass pain.
very affordable. Like these trips, I think
Yeah.
I managed to do like a 3 week in Japan, spending like 1,500.
Because you
Like
stay
including
in
air
tents.
ticket.
No,
ah?
without air ticket. Just
Oh,
go.
yeah. But then you stay in tents also.
Yeah,
or what?
just tent.
Oh, yeah.
Then you can eat anything you want because
Correct,
you know you burn it off the next
Oh
day.
yeah.
So you just eat
Correct.
all the yakitori, just fuck care, just eat
Yakitori.
everything.
Just whack.
Yeah, just whack.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
That
it's
is
true.
cool.
Actually, every holiday I go, my wife and I, we try to look for a cycling part lah.
Oh,
Because
really?
it's actually a very cost efficient way to really see a very big swath.
Yeah, because
of
cars
the
sometimes
place.
you move too fast.
Too fast. You
Like
can't
going
enjoy
to a
the
place,
way.
then you come out, you see a bit. But cycling, you really see the whole way. You know?
Yeah.
You want to stop, you just stop, take photo,
Yeah.
move again.
And it's not as bad as walking. You only cover that much only.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
nice in between though.
Wow. So, I mean, yeah, lah, at least I think the woke cyclist is
The Woke Salaryman, the next
Maybe
brand.
the next
if we
brand.
find a way to
Maybe.
monetize
The,
maybe it can be
the
something.
next brand that's brewing.
Yeah,
Okay,
could
well,
be.
there's a tour to Singapore coming up. You are well primed for that.
I think that's too competitive. I wish cycling was like a depack from the image of people in
Tights.
The Lance Armstrong.
Yeah, I
Lance
feel like to
Armstrong.
work in Singapore, cycling should be like a normal activity that people do. Like you don't need to wear spandex. I want to go to work. I can
Yeah.
wear G2000 pants and cycle my bicycle.
2000.
Yeah.
Right.
Walao, cannot.
Okay, Uniqlo,
Uniqlo,
Airism.
Uniqlo,
Yeah, Uniqlo, Airism.
No, I think Lululemon, their pants is the kind where you roll up and then there's that reflective strips and all.
Yeah.
So maybe that is the next wave. Like it would totally make sense because last time when I cycled, there's one side of your foot near the chain.
Yeah. Always get kena black color.
Right? Yeah,
Yes.
kena black color.
Yeah. I think actually that's one of the areas I unhappy with the government about. I feel like they talk a lot about sustainability.
Oh, but the cycling.
yeah, but like
Infrastructure. lah.
cycling infrastructure or protection for cyclists on the road
Yeah.
is not there yet.
I think it makes sense for Singapore. Singapore's so small also, you know?
Yeah, Singapore would be the perfect country to
Yeah.
have like cycling be a big part of it.
Not
lah.
just protection, but also enforcement for errant cyclists. Like catch all these like
Yeah.
misbehaving fuckers.
Yeah, and then drop kick them in the middle or clothesline them. Clothesline officers, then they just...
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because I mean now it's like because I used to cycle a lot also, now not so much, but it's a different world and it immediately feels it's competitive on the road. Like,
no, that one is ego already.
Yeah,
I know what you
it's
mean.
all- yeah, it's
But I feel like it's a matter of going, he go at his speed. I win if I have more fun. You
Oh, no,
then
I'm
it's
saying
just-
like even if I'm in a bus or a Grab or something, the moment there's a cyclist there, it feels like okay, game on. You know, like
why?
I don't know, there's just this tension in the air.
And
I'm not
I
even
guess.
driving. I'm not even driving or cycling. It just feels like wow, some shit's gonna go down. Yeah,
Oh, that's hilarious.
there's something.
There's innate
something-
conflict. Before I
Yeah.
started cycling also on roads, I hate cyclists. Because they slow down my bus.
Yeah, it's
But they are part of.
Yeah,
It's a
they are.
vehicle
But, I mean,
landscape,
you would
yeah.
not honk at the old uncle on a scooter, right?
Yeah.
Then why go honk at the cyclist? You will not drive closely.
You know
like-
why? Because he's there recreationally.
Why? Okay, so if that's the argument,
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying
okay, but so that's the
I'm
argument,
not arguing.
and
right?
no one allowed fucking joyrides in Singapore.
Right.
You get in your car,
You business or you get
Yeah.
out the fucking road.
yeah, you
right?
go to work. Then you fucking go
Commute
to
or
Jalan Kayu
nothing.
Ikea. Fuck
Yeah,
you, get
fuck
off
you,
the road.
fine, bro.
I mean, is that what you want? I mean,
No,
if,
I'm just talking call.
if it's the recreational argument,
chill.
Yeah,
Just talking call. only.
maybe to bring it back to something more
Finance.
less tense. We can
sure.
We can talk about the
Funny,
one
we
shock
talk
thing
about
of the week.
politics, all that is okay. Or cycling.
cycling,
oh,
drawing lines already.
That's why. Yeah, but yeah, is it time for the one shock thing of the week?
We always have this segment to end off lah. Like just something that we can share with our listeners.
Can you all say first? Then we.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So for me, the one shock thing of the week was the friendly that Man U had with Liverpool. That Man U won 4-0 lah. So I'm a Man U fan. Watching Man U the past year has been painful. And even though it's a friendly, it was nice to see them win lah.
I see.
It was nice to see them win because there's a new coach. Ronaldo didn't play, but it was still nice like. It was still nice.
Right. Congrats.
So I mean, I don't think it's gonna last.
Sorry, it's
to be
just funny
honest.
when someone
I don't think
when someone congratulates for a preseason friendly win.
Yeah, but I tell you, like the fucking Man U fans around the world, right? They're like, this is a useless cup. It's in Bangkok. It's a preseason friendly. Normally, we won't give a shit, but Man U fans generally, I think, quite happy. Yeah.
I see.
To see them win 4-0
Right.
hasn't happened for a long time. But I deep down, I know it's not going to last. So I'm just trying to enjoy it.
Yeah.
That was my one shock thing.
Cool.
But it's sad that Ronaldo is like in this situation lah.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
thinking about one of the best players of the era, he doesn't really have a home right now. Like he's too expensive for any club that would want him.
I don't watch soccer. Which Ronaldo? Cristiano Ronaldo.
Cristiano lah.
You just asked which Ronaldo.
I don't know.
Even
Last
I
time
know
got the
so
Brazil,
many
Ronaldo, Ronaldinho.
All your opinions for this 1 hour 45
Yeah.
minutes, right?
Oh, fuck really?
Embarrassing.
We gotta
Damn
censor all
embarrassing.
this,
You are out of
They're
touch with the
embarrassing.
world.
out of touch with
Yeah,
reality.
we should. Everything you said is fuck.
You know nothing.
I don't know how to react to that.
Okay, I know Messi. Okay.
So
does that redeem the
Messi is the
What's Messi's first
you know
name?
you Federer and Nadal lah. Federer and Nadal.
Start with L.
Lionel?
Lionel.
Okay, you know Federer and Nadal?
It's like
Tennis.
Messi and Ronaldo. Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, it's that kind of dichotomy.
I've heard of that dichotomy, right? Of the different styles, you know.
Styles, yeah. So
I know. Don't.
Ronaldo, he's quite old already. He's 37.
37.
But he's
37.
But he's still very
37.
little goal
He's still fucking
He's
scorer.
like
good.
LeBron James.
Yeah.
LeBron James also like close to 40 already.
Yeah.
But the problem with these people is that they when they are in your team, they take over.
They take up so much like,
air in the team.
yeah.
And so that's why a lot of people that want to build up a team, they wouldn't buy someone
you
like that
rebuild,
right
you will clear the roster, then build
now.
again, right?
But he chose to come back to Man U, but Man U was just in a very bad place.
I see.
And someone like him, he doesn't have many years left, so he's saying that I want to go to a place where I can play
Champions
at the
League
top
football
level,
and
Champions
all
League
that.
football, play against other European
I
teams.
see. What about 37?
You take a pay cut. And okay.
He got injury, you know?
Even pay cut possible, but then it becomes about how he fits into the team. Because he will really disrupt everything.
Yeah.
Everything will be on him inevitably, because he
Like
will
LeBron,
score.
I watch basketball.
I watch basketball also, yeah. So,
it's like,
I mean, all these 37, 38 athletes, they actually put the team in a very bad conundrum. Do we
True.
go for glory
True.
now, or do we
Rebuild.
scratch and then rebuild
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah.
And I think Man U they want to rebuild, but at the same time, they know that Ronaldo is like, he's like
he draws so
talisman,
much
you know?
marketing
Yeah, he's
also.
a talent,
Exactly.
everything, yeah.
So it's like this where we want him, we don't want him kind of
Interesting,
thing.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
but
apologize for saying
Congratulations,
which
Ash.
Ronaldo.
Irredeemable, irreconcilable.
I take that back if I could. Yeah. You edit out the first 1 hour,
No,
45 minutes of the
we will
podcast.
extract just that. Yeah, we will
That
extract
will be
just
it.
that.
We're
This
put
fuckface
disclaimer.
don't know which
This
Ronaldo.
guy, he's an
Is it-
expert personal finance, but he knows nothing about
PAP
football.
supporter, hardcore supporter, don't know Cristiano Ronaldo.
You know what? Because the name Ronaldo, right, just seems like got a lot of them.
Yes.
Got last time got number 9 Brazil, right?
Yeah
Then got
lah.
another one. Then got Ronaldinho also. So I was like,
That's
which one?
3, bro.
I know lah.
three
I know
lah.
lah. Still a lot. How
That's
many
three
LeBron James in
Ronaldos.
basketball? One only.
See, you just kill the mood, no?
Sorry.
Never mind. You can redeem yourself with your one Shiok Thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go for
Okay,
Terrence.
you save it.
Okay, my one thing is just the Netflix series, Our Great National Parks. I think Obama is the host and executive producer, but he covers some of the greatest national parks around the world, in Kenya, Indonesia, and Australia. It's a
Singapore
limited
one,
series. No lah, don't have lah. What?
Marina Bay there.
That's not a park.
Botanic
No.
Botanic Gardens.
Oh, that's
No, but it's
UNESCO,
focus on
right?
wildlife. Focus on wildlife.
Oh, wildlife.
So it's talking about
Yellowstone, 2 years.
Yeah. Yellowstone. So save all these parks because they are helping to save wildlife.
Right.
And everything about it is fantastic. The camera work. The only bad thing I can say about it is that when he is reading his lines in front of the camera, you can tell that they didn't bring a teleprompter. So his eyes keep
pauses.
flicking to the side.
Oh, okay.
He's reading his lines.
I think only media people will find
but
notice.
but it's that kind of thing because it's.
I don't
so
think
jarring.
Attenborough will ever do that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It looks very unprofessional when.
Ayo,
they do it.
Obama.
It's Obama.
Checks out. I guess the whole legacy is ruined.
Ruined.
Yeah,
by
because
this,
he looked to the side.
Correct. The whole thing you cannot watch it because of that.
Kidding.
No, but it is it's a very nice series, and it's one of those few things on like it's like you can watch with kids, you can watch with your girlfriend, whatever.
I see.
It's you can't go wrong with it. It's cute, it's funny, it's those nice moments.
What's it called again?
Our Great National Parks.
Oh, Our Great National Park.
Yeah.
Cool.
One shook thing or one shot thing?
One Shiok. One
yeah.
Shiok
You
thing.
know, in Malaysia is
Siok.
also Siok lah.
Siok,
Siok lah.
one
Haha, you say that.
Siok.
You say that. No.
What's
I
Siok
thought he
thing?
always say damn siok. Then I'm like, okay, should I tell
I
him?
don't say so.
You do.
I say shook, bro.
No,
What
you
are
say
talking
siok. You
about?
say siok all the time. I
I
feel
say,
like-
okay, for the record, I say shook.
No, you say
I
siok.
never say silk
I
in
will,
my life.
I will film it and we'll upload it at some
You
point.
do it. I will never ever say it.
Please film it.
You
please
script
film
it, I also
yeah.
won't say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The H is there, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just steal what you said just now. Pale Blue Dot. Pale Blue Dot.
yeah.
It's a narrated thing by Carl Sagan, and it's from a photo I think that was taken by Voyager spacecraft, and it's exiting the solar system. What they did was that they asked the satellite to turn around
As it was
and take a photo of Earth in the Milky Way, and Earth is just one pale blue dot. And I think also relatable in terms of like small red dot, little red dot, Singapore kind of thing. And it just talks about how insignificant and small Earth is for all this vastness that we see right now.
Yeah.
Actually is nothing. We are just stardust and we'll return to stardust. And what we talk about in terms of like macro thinking, I think that is as macro as you're gonna get. It's beautifully narrated. The music by Vangelis is amazing.
It's a documentary or just a short?
It's a part of a documentary.
Part of a
But it's
documentary.
like
Correct,
few
yeah.
minutes only. But
can
it's
find
the
on
most
YouTube, yeah.
stunning Like every year, I will watch
Revisit it.
and this thing remind you that this person stressing you at work doesn't fucking matter.
But do you watch the Neil deGrasse Tyson stuff?
No, I didn't.
Because he
I like Neil deGrasse Tyson as a space science communicator.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen that yet. Star Talk I've seen.
No,
This podcast is good.
What's the show?
Start up.
No, as in the show.
He had
that
one, Cosmos. It was also called Cosmos.
Yeah,
Cosmos,
He basically built on whatever Carl
Carl
Sagan.
Sagan,
Yeah.
I like him. I like
Yeah,
him.
that was cool.
I mean, assuming that he didn't sexually harass his assistant and all that.
Okay, that one, I don't know. Until it's proven,
Yeah.
Carl Sagan or Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Neil
deGrasse
deGrasse
Tyson.
Tyson. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my one Shiok thing.
One Shiok Thing.
Wow, I think this month's Shiok Thing is August issue of the Singapore Savings Bond that gives up to 3% returns over a period of 10 years.
You
I
always
can't
have to
tell
bring
you're
us
being
back.
sarcastic
Yeah.
or
It's
not.
serious.
Yeah.
No, it's a
Serious,
good thing. Because it rarely goes up this
Yeah,
time.
so this is
Okay,
all-time high interest for people who want to protect their money to hedge against inflation. The maximum amount you can get is $200,000, but I suggest buying it in buying no more than $10,000 because that will increase your likelihood of success of getting the bonds.
Oh, so what is it? The SR
SSB, the Singapore
Singapore
Savings
Savings
Oh,
Bonds.
Singapore Savings
Oh,
Bond.
It's
Ah,
basically
okay.
unlike investing in a company. Like if you all have Laugh Media or like a Folklore.
Yeah.
If I invest in a company, I take a certain percentage, right? That means
Yeah.
whatever you earn, I get a percentage.
Yeah.
So that is a shareholder relationship.
Yeah.
A bond is a loan relationship, meaning I lend you money, you pay this back in 5 years,
And
no
you're
matter
lending
what
to the
happens.
Singapore government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're
So
taking
this
a bet on
3%,
Singapore,
this
lah.
No,
3% is guaranteed you're gonna get it back unless the Singapore government collapse.
Yeah.
You're gonna get the 3% back, and
Yeah.
3% is really good for something like that.
So when you're on shareholder relationship, you take on the risk of the company as well.
Yeah.
But for bond, you just
You will
fucking-
get paid
You
first.
just give me my.
As long as Singapore don't
Yeah.
collapse. If
Exactly.
Singapore liquidates or whatever.
Singapore
then-
Inc. don't
Yeah,
liquidate.
and-
Not
It's
impossible.
unlikely. It's not
but
impossible, but
unlikely.
it's very unlikely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what a one Shiok Thing of the week.
How
That
do
is
you-
a
how do you
much
go
thing,
about
yeah.
how do you
Yeah.
go about buying it?
You can do it, I think, on a local bank's app. You just go invest, then you'll say Singapore government securities,
And
then you
there's
go
a-
Singapore savings bond.
And there's a window that you open, right?
This month, I think application ends 26th July.
Ah.
It's nerdery like Sunday.
Wait, and then you said buy
Like, walao,
10,000,
the
don't
date
buy
you also know.
200,000.
Yeah,
Why?
because if you buy the full 200,000, so no Singaporean is allowed to have more than 200,000 Singapore
Okay.
savings bonds.
Okay.
So you you buy $200,000. I think they will reject your application because it's easier to process smaller applications.
I see.
So you buy like 10,000 is
Okay.
reasonable.
Okay,
So-
I'm going to tuck my $200,000
So-
back in my pocket.
Yeah.
Maybe the interest rate might increase next month. So who knows? So maybe next month you can invest again. Maybe it's 3.2% next month. Who knows?
Oh,
I
you're saying.
see.
So you're saying don't just assume that this is the highest.
yes. But it is really high now.
This is pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't believe you know the fucking expiry date.
5 years
Sorry,
now.
yeah.
5 years, right?
Yeah,
10 years, 10 years.
I guess what
Oh.
you said just now about
Yeah.
Ruiming, like living and breathing personal finance.
That's it.
Yeah,
is-
no, but
that's
3%.
We need somebody like that.
But
yeah.
3%,
I need him.
3% for 10 years is not bad, really.
Yeah.
It will beat most of your investments you made last year. Because most people are losing money now because they
Yeah.
invested last
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
3% is pretty good.
Mm.
But don't
Safe,
put
lah.
all your money in it. You should diversify and stuff.
Put
Wow.
one for every dollar you put in there. Put $1 in crypto, lah. Right?
No.
That's what you're saying.
We cannot endorse that strategy. Yeah.
Damn, Terrence.
But yeah, I guess that's a nice way to come full circle and conclude
Very
this
shiok,
podcast, man.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking keeping things real, Ruiming.
Yes, we
Yeah,
must keep things real.
always.
Yeah, keeping things real. But yeah,
Where can I mean obviously where can people find the Woke Salaryman?
Our website is wokesalaryman.com. You can find us.
And men as in
M-A-N.
M-A-N.
M-A-n,
So
yeah.
singular man lah.
Yeah, singular man.
it's like Batman, the singular man.
Or bad person, as he might be known now. But
Bad
it's
person.
man first.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
men because we are both males, and it would be disingenuous to masquerade as females.
No, it's man because it's salary man.
yeah.
It's not that we are both males and we are penises. That's why it's man. Salary man.
Okay, number one, salary man is a thing. There's no
There's no
Yes,
there's
yes,
no
I
term,
know.
lah.
There's no salary.
in mainstream usage. There's no salary woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then also we are both men, so we
Why
will
does that
not
matter?
go out of the way to use salary woman
Why does that matter?
because that's just weird.
Oh, okay.
You know what I
Whatever,
mean?
like, yeah. So we are we are the Woke Salary Man. One word, MAN on Instagram. Facebook, I think also can find us there. We're
Yeah.
also now on LinkedIn. Can check out on LinkedIn. Got Telegram. We also got a Telegram thing. We're on YouTube also. Go and check us out. We got some podcasts on there. Not very good, but we'll get better.
Yes.
Might be interesting. Where else are we on?
We're on Twitter, but don't have because got a character limitation.
On Twitter, we don't look at the comments because we scared of just people arguing. Because Twitter got a different kind of vibe. So
Sure.
yeah, we are failing on TikTok, so don't check us out on TikTok yet.
Yeah,
We haven't
very
decided to make a
embarrassing.
play there. Yeah. Or if you want to laugh at us, go on TikTok and look at how pathetic our TikTok is. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool, man.
Well, cool. Nice.
Awesome. Wow, that was a great chat, guys. Thanks for coming on
I
board.
hope it was good
Yeah,
for you.
I hope this is
Usable.
usable.
Confirm
You
lah.
won't have
confirm.
to
we
delete
had a lot
it.
of fun.
We delete the pub of Ronaldo.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
not
yeah.
knowing.
No, we're not
Ronaldo.
going to delete it. Yeah, we're not going to delete